Bam, 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 bam. I'm sorry for being slightly late. Hello. Hello. How you do? Hello, Anthony. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm Cupcake Conjurer, name and profession. Cupcake Conjuror. Yeah. Or Conjuror. My name I don't know how to say my profession is Cupcake Conjurer. It'd be like Namaiwa core profession. Shashin is photograph. But hello, how you doing? Yeah, we're not starting. We're not starting, Lizardman, no! If I started an Age of Sigmar army, it might be Gloomspite Skates. I'm incredibly tempted right now by the new ogres. Like, don't get me started how tempted I am. Also, for new Chaos Space Marine, not Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Warriors in Fantasy. Oh my gosh, I want to get a dragon. I want a dragon. I'm not getting it. Although recently my life has been taken over by Master Duel. I finally made what seems to be an almost decent... Oh no, what I did. During Master Duel, you can spend gems on packs, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try getting for primates. For primates, which are dragons. Rocky dragons. I tried getting them, and I barely got them. I got 2 of the fusion card, but I'm like, okay, I've got enough ultra rare stuff here to buy a couple of, the dragons, like the level 4 one, the starter off the deck. I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. You won 200,000 for the start, 20,000, sorry. Hi, K-Trax, hi, Ireland. Double wins. Oh my gosh. YouTube ate your post. I wish my space bear of Blika Kauru. Oh wait, isn't there a space bear with a towel if they ever get for auxiliaries? Psychic space bears that are super fluffy and adorable. I posted a picture of my model in the Discord. Oh, I'm gonna look. Warhammer minis. It is a space bear. It's a Chaos Terminator space bear. That's cool. That's very cool. Oh no, camera. Not camera. Screen turned off again. Come back on screen. Come back on. Hello. Nope, he's a loyalist. Oh. I just saw for black, was like black and gold, Black Legion. Oh yeah, and they are the are they the raptor hands? Are they actually from the Chaos Terminator? Oh no, it is a Chaos Terminator body, isn't it? That's been modified, I guess. You moved. Oh yeah, there's no Chaos insignia on it. You moved it all. Oh. That's kind of cool. I'll show you. Do you mind if I show it on stream? Well, I'll show it from this side. For major minis. Oh, modified Space Wolf model. Oh. Do. There you go. So you know what we're talking about. Best if I go to the hand cam so you can actually see. There we go. There it is. Very cool model. Yeah. Oh. By the way, do you like how my model is? I've changed how I set my models. Instead of looking straight forward all the time, instead, I'm looking over here. And if I want to look at chat, Hi. There we go. Yeah. So I'm looking straight forward when I'm looking at chat for the most part, and I'm looking towards the screen when I'm like, you know, doing stuff, which I think is good. I think that's good. I hope that's good. I hope you guys like it. I stole it from HoloLive. By the way, have you seen the new knobs? Look at that guy. Look at the cute little rot next to him. Look at that guy. He looks cool. They're a bit lankier than they used to be, aren't they? They were very squat before. And they got a lot more character to them. You definitely feel like these guys, yeah, these guys have personality. Like, this guy's got so much personality the way he's just sat there. Like, you can definitely feel that sort of thing for the arc. And same with this guy. Compared to, like, the previous knob box. Did we still have a previous knob box for sale? Xenos armies. Orcs. Yeah. Compared to these guys, I mean, there is personality within them to some extent, but compared to this, like, yeah, giant flamer. I thought you're on for Squiff. Good to know it's international. Squiff? What's a squiff? Knobs are a classic part of any proper... Oh, intentional! I misread that since intentional. Intentional. Yeah, I've swapped it out. I started on... Oh, was it Sunday? Because I've been watching Corona, HoloLive, you know, as part of my Japanese learning. And I noticed that I think she has a 3D model, not a 2D one, to be honest. I noticed that she's always looking this way towards the screen, and then when she's looking at chat, she's like... I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. I kind of... That's way better than just looking towards the screen when you're playing a game. It kind of looks like you're focused on the game instead. I'm hoping it looks good. I'm hoping it looks good. Knobs. Okay, so there are different ways to... Yeah, there looks like there's lots of options. This kit builds 5 characterful knobs with custom crumpers, melee weapon profile. They also come with 3 grots. So it looks like there's lots of customization options in them. And I'm hoping that you can mix and match them with the new Orc Boys kit to some extent. Ooh, the new bike. I'm hoping they're not monopose at all. I'm hoping that you can, like, swap out for hands and stuff. Like, maybe each of the... Like, what I would want of the bikes, predominantly, is each biker has 2 handlebars. Or 3 handlebars, or whatever. Basically, you've got one where, you know, they're holding it on this side. One where they're holding on that side. One where they're not holding on either side. Oh, actually, yeah, just make it so for each the handlebars just stick to the side. One's got a hand on, one doesn't. So that way you can swap, and then each bike has at least 2 arms each. Preferably 3 arms each, to be honest. One for, like, the left arm holding onto the thing. That's actually the right arm, sorry. One with the right arm holding onto it. One with, like, a bolt pistol. One with, like, a chopper or something. And then the same for the other side. That would be cool. So I'm hoping that there's customizability in it. And that's just the same model as up there. That's the same model. Each bike mounts a pair of dual dackers, yeah. The bike knob even gets special upgrade of their own, swapping rockets onto their guns. Yeah. Dual Talan. Don't dual Talan! He's not got his Yu-Gi-Oh deck ready. He's got a brick! On the script means... might be a South England thing because skewed, tilted, wonky. Oh, yeah, I should have got that by him. Like, I have understood when I read intentional, it's like intentional, international. No, it's intentional. Dyslexia, my dyslexia gets me. Once I realised it said intentional, I was like, oh, squiff must mean whatever. You know, forked up. I mean, it could be a Northern England thing as well, but I mean, like, I'm sheltered enough that I don't know common colloquial sayings that aren't on the internet. Talan has declined for duel. Yeah, Talan would never duel because he's always got to break his hand up. The dyslexia do be making you on the squiff. On the squig. On the squig. At first I thought you misspelled squig because we were looking at orcs. I'm like, yeah, squig. But I'm like, that sentence doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, we're just looking at stuff. Pirate ships! Oh, but isn't that Glutinous Maximus or whatever? We're making pirate ships from scrap. That sounds cool. Oh yeah, rumour engine, rocks. Oh yeah, and then we got for other rumour engine. Let me go on to here. Talam was posting about them. Open image in new tab. There we go. If I go scroll up a bit more. Open in browser, this one. And open in browser. This one. So I thought this might be for Vermin Lord at first, but I don't think it is anymore. I'm hoping we do get for Vermin Lord. That looks like it could be for one of the new oh, what do we call them? The rat ogre things that you mentioned. That's 100% at all. Dyslexia turning Cupcake into an orc. True. Oh, what did he call them? The Storm Fiends. Yeah, this could be Storm Fiends. This looks like it might be Chaos of some kind with the 2 spikes and the long, potentially tentacles. I don't know what model it would be. Maybe it's like, it could be a Vermin Lord. It could be the health one. But I don't know. It doesn't look very... Could be Storm Fiend. Oh, wait. It could be Thankful, actually. I think that's Thankful. If we look at Thankful's model... Thankful... And Bone Ripper. Warhammer.com. That could be Thankful's tail. Yeah, it could be Thankful's tail, and the other piece could be a part of Bone Ripper here. But I don't see the small spikes that would be part of Bone Ripper. If I add Tyranids to Warhammer 3, it would be hilarious. Tyranids, yes. No, we don't have Vermin Lords yet. No, these are for the... What's it called? Warhammer Total War 3. So... Yeah, all of these are for Total War 3 with the end times, these ones. I'm thinking that could be... No, it doesn't look... Again, I don't think Thankful. That could be Storm Fiends. I mean, it could be part of Bone Ripper as well. If we look over here. It could be this piece here. No, it wouldn't be that piece. Yeah, it's hard to know. Storm Fiends. I don't know what this is at all. Could be a... It looks like a pirate ship. You know? New corpse cart thing. It's Gotrek. Gorich. Gorwich. Okay, let's look up Gorwich. The issue is as well, it could be based on art or model. Oh no, I think we already have Gorwich, don't we? Yeah, we have Gorwich in the game already. Yeah, you can't explode me. What's this? So we got this thing, Rumour Engine. It looks to me kind of like it could be Warpstone and Skaven, but it might be hard. It could be Cafe for all I know. I'm out of drink. Hi, Gaminator. Little bit of advice. Well, the Exodites look cool. They are horrible in the kill team at the moment. I'm flying. So I'd probably wait until they are solid before getting them. Oh, if you're like me, you don't care about kill team. You just want them for Warhammer 40k. And because they're cool models. They are amazing models. Remember, rules are temporary. Models are forever. And honestly, for some people, the amount of time it would take to build and paint them, they're probably going to be good by the time they get them built and painted. Speaking about myself, we have all the Rumour Engines. Yeah, we got loads of Rumour Engines. No. This is model Rumour Engine. These are Total War 3 Rumour Engines, specifically for the End Times DLC, I believe. So, model Rumour Engine, Total War 3. Consider how long it took to make my Night Destroyer, yeah. Yeah, they're very good models though, like they're one of the best model kits that GW have done in a while. Not only because they look absolutely amazing, but there's customization with them. The limbs are all interchangeable, the necks are all interchangeable, the heads. This is for the dinosaurs. The heads, the limbs, necks are all interchangeable. There's multiple head options, there's even multiple neck options. There's 4 necks of 3 dinosaurs. The limbs of the Eldar, the arms anyway, for the lance arms, it's a flat connection point, meaning you can change if you want it pointing down, pointing up, or whatever. You can pretty much change it how much you want. The heads again are full swiftly ball joint. Let me fix my model quickly. So they're amazing models to build. And let me bring back up YouTube. There we go. Pretty upset that Red Terror isn't a playable kill team. Yeah, it's sad. I mean, you can play him in kill team, but it's a non-player operative. I'm surprised they've not released a Red Terror as an individual model yet, as far as I'm aware. Like the first Upa Wing, where people got them because they're OP, then they got nerfed insanely hard. Yeah, that's what Warhammer does. They overcorrect a lot. Well, I imagine people are buying these Exodites because they are cool models. Like, oh yeah, the head is also set up in a way that it could pretty much take any Eldar head, put it on this body, it would work fine. This arm, you can take pretty much any Eldar right arm and it will be fine. The torso, for upper bot torso actually, a lot of Eldar torso and body parts could be placed on this leg with... You'd have to do some work, but you could get them fitting on top of the legs. One thing I found as well with the bodies is that there's actually quite a lot of wiggle room to have them turning in whatever direction you want. It's a bit hard to line up without gaps, but you can do it without having to do much cutting or anything. The head as well, over here, there's a bit of, because it's kind of not quite a ball joint, but very similar to a ball joint, you got room to tilt the head in various directions, which is great. These arms on the side, unfortunately, because of the cloak, we're pretty much stuck with the way they are. You can always cut them down at the limb to replace them if you want to, though. And there's plenty of left arm options. There's also multiple chest options. There's multiple head options. So there's quite a lot of freedom with building this kit. And that's what makes it... And it's such a beautiful model as well. Like the Custodes, the new Custodes, do you know, the ones on foot that we built? Hi, Douglas! Kind of like orc buggies. Orc buggies aren't bad. They're very expensive how many points they are, and they're very hot. They're not a great building or painting experience. If you build an orc buggy, you definitely don't want to glue it together fully. You want to only partially glue it together. The reason being is it will just be hell to paint otherwise. You need to be able to take it apart to some extent from many other buggies. Some other buggies do suck, some of them are, but they're decent enough. The issue with the orc buggies, though, that they're all monopose, and it absolutely sucks for orcs having a monopose vehicle that has like very little options on it. Some of them are incredibly hard to convert as well. You're going to have to do a lot of hefty kit bashing if you want them to look unique. And I get the entire thing that orcs, they're actually kind of gestalt. So when one orc has an idea, lots of orcs will have the exact same idea. And while they don't have blueprints, the blueprints exist within the genes, hence why all the vehicles look kind of similar to one another. It's like, no, orc vehicles, they need to be ramshackle. They need to all have some sort of unique vehicle. Yes, they're kind of all going off the same sort of basic blueprint, but there needs to be a lot of freedom in building it. And these guys have a lot of freedom. The custodian models that were on foot, they look absolutely beautiful, but they were a pain to build. They had multiple small joints, like where you got the big hair tail thing, and the tiniest little joint to attach it to the helmet. Meaning it's incredibly fragile. Because wherever you put plastic glue, the plastic becomes more brittle where it melted and then re-dried, meaning that the joint is going to be weaker. And when you got an incredibly thin joint, it becomes extremely fragile. And the same goes for one of the banners. But yeah, I've got two banners. One of them with spears, one of them with swords. One of them, I think it's a sword one. The banner's fine. The spear one sucks. But yeah, they were all monopose, relatively difficult to customize models. They weren't impossible. We managed to change some of the limbs around and do some decent, reposing of them with minimal effort. Well, not minimal effort, but close to. But compared to just how easy it is to repose these guys and move them around, and while still being absolutely gorgeous models, these models just take the cake. Now, the issue I did have with them, you can see actually, where this piece is a bit stressed here.
Hi Cupcake, me and Diesel just got home from bloody Heat.
Oh yeah, it's warm at the moment. What I'm especially upset about, because the SNAS wagons look awesome. The SNAS wagons are not too bad in the game, is it? I can't remember. I forget which other wagons are which. You got the Boomdacker SNAS wagon, then you got the other buggy that's very similar to it. My issue with the buggies is that they're all too similar to one another in terms of what they do. They all move fast. They all have relatively similar shooting profiles. Pretty much the exact same toughness and how easy they are to kill. And pretty much most of them have the same melee profile. Meaning that you got like 5 different types of buggies, yet you might as well only have one. And just make it a battle line. I wish there was more uniqueness to them in the actual gameplay. So one of them was good versus tank. One of them is surprisingly tough, like having a force field on it. One of them is, anti-infantry, while one of them's melee. They could have gone a lot more into that. So yeah, these models, they're good. Now, these things don't have any customization on them, but it's fine. They're only tokens in the actual 40k. In Kill Team, they've got rules of themselves, but if you're playing Kill Team, you only probably have one box of them, so them being monopose is fine. So yeah, they're very fun. It's a very fun model to put together. Oh yeah, the issue with them is the way they attach to the sprue. It's very... all of the connection points are either where it connects to the sprue, it's the same part which is connecting to other models, meaning you have to be really careful trying to cut away the plastic so that it can join back onto the model without gaps. Because even if it's a tiny little bit of sprue still there, it'll cause a gap. That's the only real issue. And on the way the head's attached with all these little spikes and stuff, it's the spikes that attach to the sprue, meaning it's very... you have to be very careful getting it off the sprue without breaking the spikes. And as you can see here, on the spikes a little bit, you can see where it's a bit white, and that's where the plastic got stressed trying to take it off the sprue. And then it's also very hard to clean it up on the spikes without, you know, then damaging the spikes. Hello, RDLOG. How you doing? 2 days to your package is delivered. Nice. There we go. But with the Exodites, they're good models. Yeah, grab this. Hope today's treating you well. Gonna crack on my Nurgle demons. Yeah, Nurgle demons. And time to open my irresponsibly big minute. No, don't order miniatures. No, you need to finish the ones you've got. Is your Nurgle demon going to be one of your really quick ones? Or is it going to be one you're spending lots of time on it? Yeah, I wish for arcs it's a tangent over. There's loads of tangents. I'm on like 6 different tangents, and they keep going from one tangent to a new tangent to a new tangent, so I'm working my way back. Also, I hope all of you are having a wonderful Tuesday. I was in Chicago, Illinois. Went to a gaming store. They had Trench Crusade models for sale, like official Trench Crusade. Oh yeah, they're starting to come in now. I think if you live in Europe and the UK and stuff, you probably have already seen Trench Crusade miniatures in your gaming stores. I don't have a gaming store near me. The only one I know of is a Warhammer store, which is sad. Especially since it's closed like half the time. It's like the best days for me to try and go there, which there's very few days. It's generally when it's closed. It sucks. Sorry, Nurgle demons. I have some plague bearers, 3 Nurglings, and 6 plague drones off the table. Almost done with a lot. Now spend all your time on the Nurglings. The Nurglings deserve the extra love and attention. Yeah. It takes a while because they put... I think their production is in Europe for Trench Crusade. So it generally does take a while. So it will take a while to get outside of Europe. Especially with the way, you know, shipping is at the moment. Once they've got good production lines up and running though, you should expect to start seeing them, you know, in stores more often and sooner. It's like with Games Workshop. Initially, for a good few years, any model that came out, it was like months late it would arrive in the US, except when they got the production lines, you know, working very smoothly. And the same goes with lots of places. Obviously, they're trying to get Japan into everything, so they're trying to, you know, get the production lines there as quick as possible. Australia and New Zealand, though, they still have everything delayed. Well, not everything, but so much stuff. It's because they're just considered a less important market. It's very difficult to ship to them, and they're not considered important enough to, you know, do all of that. But that being said, if they're trying to get Japan into, you know, free market, then maybe that would mean they'd also be able to get Australia and New Zealand into it too. But they're still very far from Japan, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, okay, we got the Exodite law book. Let me grab the book. Exodite law book, yeah! Kill Team Exodite. Honestly, you could tell that they expected people would be very interested in the law book. This is the best Kill Team book that we've had so far in terms of like the quality. Like, it's not even close. It's a proper hardback book. Like the rest of the boxes, they're instead, you know, those soft books, softbacks. It's even got its own little thing here. It's got this nice golden lettering. It doesn't have any cool stuff along the edge of the page, mind you. And it's got this nice, really nice back. Oh, look at that. I wish it was shimmering, though, at the backs with the scale, but that's super cool. Oh, yeah, we figured out how we're going to paint these guys, by the way. We're painting at least the dragons as Blue Eyes White Dragon. I'm going to find a metallic blue paint, like, you know, a very light blue, but metallic. I would just go with Leadbelcher and paint blue over the top, but I don't really know any Games Workshop Citadel paint colour that would be good going over metallic blue, over Leadbelcher to give us the Blue Eyes blue. Pylar Glacier, maybe. I might test Pylar Glacier with Stormhost Silver. That could work. Oh gosh, that's not stuck properly. Let's restick this. New Zealand might be too hot there for plastic minis. Is New Zealand that hot? Shouldn't he be painted white, Blue Eyes White? Have you seen Blue Eyes White Dragon? It's often depicted blue. Or do you know, a very light blue? Kind of shimmering and metallic. Well, not shimmering, kind of shiny and metallic. Ooh, I think this is like nice paper as well. So they definitely put a lot more effort into this book than they did into other books. It's also got a hell of a lot of stuff in it. It's a lot thicker than the other books, like 2 or 3 times as thick. But most of it is just scenarios and rules, which is really, really good if you like Kill Team. But if you're like me and you just got the models of 40k and the book for the lore, then it is a bit disappointing. I do like the fact it's got how to build your own terrain, but I would much prefer... Oh, wait, sorry, I turned the light off. Yeah, that's good. That's better. I would much... Nah, I can change down the lighting a little bit on this. Turn down the brightness. There we go. Let's put down this gamma to the normal levels. I've been having a bit of difficulty with the camera deciding it wants everything to be super dark lately. There we go, that's better. It's still got a bit of shininess here. It's got it's kind of, you know, a plasticky thing. I would have much preferred it instead of giving us so many arcs, it gave us terrain instead. Like proper plastic Exodite terrain. Preferably trees and stuff, to be honest. That would have been nice. I mean, I do appreciate this. It goes back to the roots of, you know, how to make your own terrain. Use plasticard. Use bits of, you know, trees and stuff. Cut out bits of foam. So if we mix a bit of blue with Stormhost, you should get a nice metallic blue. I don't really like mixing paints, if I'm entirely honest. Just need a bright... Yeah, I think Stormhost Silver should be good. I could vouch for Liquitex acrylic inks over bright silver metallic drying brush. Oh, that could be good. Liquitex. That being said, I do have one Liquitex thing, I think. Yeah, this for white. And I found... I don't like it. I actually prefer just a thin down white scar. Oh, for Liquitex ink. But yeah, so for its lore, it's a decent amount of lore, to be fair. Like, the amount of lore here is probably more than we had on Red Terror and the Spectre Squad. So, we'll get started. There you go. A wild and cruel refuge. Refuge? Like, what you throw away? Refuge it. Amongst the laments the alien Eldari perform about the fall of their species, are fleeting fusses of foresight and courage. A few mentions the Exodite world of Seath by name. They extol its flourishing beauty and the harsh cruelty of its dangers. Death is found swiftly by the reckless on Sith. In any case, in the crevasse of its flora, in the jaws of its beasts, upon the blades of its hunters, the Exodites would need to draw upon all these to survive the coming stampede. I use that Viking you have there through for airbrush for almost every OSL and Senna I ever do. But for regular paints, it's less useful. Yeah. I don't have an airbrush. I'm thinking maybe I should get an airbrush. At the peak of the ancient Eldari's power, millions of years ago, as humans count such things, nothing seemed beyond their reach. They plied the stars at will and immersed themselves in every wonder and sensation they could find. They possessed untrammeled access to transdimensional network. It's like weird. Oh, I know what this is. It's when we were building our Nurgle demons. I got the. Oh, what's it called? The modeling putty on it. Milliput. Oh, that's not nice. Ruined the nice darkness on it. I'm trying to just get all the Milliput off with the. There we go. Mold line remover. Unfortunately, Milliput is pretty hard, and once it's stuck, it likes to stay stuck. There we go. That's good enough. Okay. Through this, they could create countless galactic locations without risking the horrors of a war. Or could reach, sorry. A dimension of energy, thought, and sensation that lies beneath the skin of reality. They also fashioned worlds of harmony, where the soul could rest in those versions of nature that the Eldari found most pleasing. These were the Maiden Worlds. Leviathan in the Eldari language. Named the goddess Lilith. Oh, Lilithan, then. Incredible processes that were set to work to remake these planets into forms that please the capricious whims of their architects. Some of which were repugnant even to fellow Eldari, others were made into wildernesses of unsurpassed natural beauty, with their creators.
I'll see you on my other account, Conjuror.
Okay, Native Engine. I'll see you back being Blair Boris, yeah. Sith was almost amongst these maiden worlds. Seemed as a prospective colony by the Eldari, and a means to spread their people's dominion of the galaxy. It would be a fiercely verdant world, unforgiving for purity of its environment, and a stark proclamation of its world-maker's ability. Orbital, tectonic, and biochemical genesis mechanisms were set to work. It mattered not to the Eldari that such processes would be eons in the making. To a long-lived species that believed in eternal reincarnation, such concerns with a province of foes they spurned as lesser creatures. Sif's world makers had every intention of beholding the final creation with their own eyes someday. That's better. Yay! Welcome back. What your mind senses is she the ancients wrought. It is she who thirsts. We escaped her birth, but her hunger is limitless. Asfel Yastria Stonesinger. The downfall of the Eldari, built up within their society and within their own collective psyches so slowly and insidiously that by the time some saw what was happening, it could not be stopped. With their technology having long provided for every need, we usually call them rock musicians. Stone Singer, we usually call them rock musicians. Ah! Hilarious. Oh gosh. What are we doing? The downfall of the Eldari built up within their society. Within their so slowly and insidiously that by the time some saw what was happening, it could not be stopped. With their technology having long provided for their every need, and far more besides, each waking moment of the Eldari's long life was spent sating their every whim. Their horrors... Oh gosh, The species' capacity to reach zeniths of ecstasy and nadirs of horrors was plumbed for more extreme experiences. Exotic cults dedicated to excess and esoteric knowledge sprang up across their domains. As hedonistic impulses spread, older and simpler purists were cast aside as dull and restrictive. Yeah, we know about this. We know about how the Eldars fell and that they made maiden worlds. I guess this is some people who are completely new to the Eldar. My day is going okay. I mean, my health is punching me quite literally in the gut. But, you know, that's normal. Man, they went through so many stuff. Yeah, they had a lot of hell into the society. Also, how did that message not get... How did YouTube not decide to hold that message for review? What the heck? No idea. They went through so many narcotics. Yeah. Also joined for a fight... Those who spoke out in puritanical revulsion against the mounting anarchy were ostracized, forced to join the rebels, or even murdered. Many others of like-minded simply fled. These who were the first to escape the oncoming cataclysm would become known as the Exodites. They were comparatively few in number, and in the wake of their flight were openly scorned and ridiculed by foes of their kin who continued to lead lives of depravity. The Exodites sought escape from what they saw as spiritual degradation of the worst kind, little knowing it was a forerunner of something far worse. Yeah, look at those Exodites. They got robes. I wonder if we are going to get Exodite infantry though. The migration of the Exodites was not a coordinated endeavour. Across the Eldari space, it occurred across the span of generations, with groups looking for isolation even from foes who shared their disgust at what was happening in the heart of the Eldari Empire. Travelling in ships through the Webway, most of them drove towards what humans later designated the Galactic East and South. Many strove to reach the unoccupied maiden worlds, seeing in their manufactured wildness the ideal environment in which to cleanse themselves of society's excesses. The travels of one group of Exodites saw their ships weave the shadowy paths of Webwaite's twilight labyrinth, all the way to the galactic's fringe. Zeeth's eons-long artificial renew was nearing completion. Survival would be difficult, but not impossible. Here, the Exodites began adopting more Puritan ways of life. They restricted themselves to only the most vital of their species' incredible technology, establishing spas and mobile settlements, and learned to survive in the lush but harsh environment. When the cataclysm came, it reached the Eldari to one degree or another, and much was lost. The echoes of the Eldari's emotional highs and lows had rippled through the warp. There, these reflections coalesced, eventually becoming a nascent sentience that burst into existence as a chaos god, Slaanesh. The heart of the old Eldari Empire was ripped out of existence entirely, leaving a pulsing afterbirth of warp energy behind. Beyond this region, the souls of untold billions of Eldari were consumed, their tormented deaths feeding Slaanesh. Water! You're ashamed you didn't wish me well. You don't need to wish me well. Because I'm never gonna be well. Ha ha! Oh gosh. Beyond this region, the souls of untold. That's not water. I heard a crunch. What do you mean you heard a crunch? I got water. Oh, if you hear like this sound, that's my straw. Because, you know, I drink through a straw. Did you bite a chip? No, I bit my straw. If you meant that noise. You know? Well, that's some British stiff upper lip there. Stiff upper lip! Stiff upper lip! Maybe it was my stiff upper lip that crunched. Or maybe it was like my hands going. There we go. Yeah. Beyond this region. Anyway. Beyond this region, the souls of untold billions of Eldari were consumed, their tormented deaths feeding Slaanesh. Those Exodites who had not fled far enough were also annihilated. Zeeth and other refugees escaped the worst. But the Eldari there felt Slaanesh's hunger nonetheless. It clawed at their souls and whispered temptations, willing them to descend into the same excesses that had damned the rest of their species. Above all, they knew the hunger lurking in the warp would be waiting for them upon their deaths. The Exodites of Zeeth wove a new discipline for themselves in the wake of a psychic apocalypse. Spiritual decline had engulfed, to their knowledge, all other Eldari. Thus they committed themselves further to a rigorous existence. As they saw it, isolationist principles had saved them from extinction. Strengthening them would ensure continued survival. Dinosaurs! So the Eldari purposely making these maiden worlds, forging them themselves, and, you know, making them, including all of the dangerous wildlife, how they desired, would explain why you can have Exodites from different worlds with the exact same monsters and beasts, because the Eldar made them. The Eldar purposely bred and cultivated those beasts because they thought they were beautiful and would be nice on their maiden worlds. That's nice. Use some moisturizer, Queen. Moisturizer? What do you mean moisturizer? No, it's my joints. Moisturizer doesn't fix your joints. It's not my skin cracking and crunching. I mean, you've got this noise in my gloves. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Oh gosh, did you hear me?
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Oh my gosh, I made Jurassic Park, you're correct. Nah, you can't hear my wrists are cracking. Sith is a world of dense. I thought I said a world in demise. Of dense, continent-spanning rainforests. Tough grasslands studded with whirler-like patterns, rocky plateaus riven with sheer ravines, and deep seas adorned with chains of lush islands. Its tropical and temperate climates are intensely humid, storms bringing torrential downpours, immense webs of rivers and aquifers channel water across the land masses, and life abounds everywhere. Though much of the world has its origins in the genesis mechanisms of the world's creators, other life forms are brought and spread by the Exodites who claim Sith. Oh, that also explains why the Exodites could have stuff, because they specifically brought these life forms. Beyond the intersectoral parasites swooping filter Mars, prowling Nurinxes and staggeringly profuse vegetation and microscopic life, there are herds of hulking graziers, packs of spined predators, and beasts with unique symbiotic relationships with other creatures or plants. Most prominent, however, are the scaled animals that Exodites collectively refer to as dragons. So there are dragons! I wonder if that does mean we're going to get like a proper Eldar dragon. That would be amazing. A term drawn from Eldari myth. It is applied to reptilian creatures from the Dimitrith to the Colossal. Some are permitted to roam free, although the Exodites, use many species for a variety of purpose, including as savage cavalry mounts. To the Exodites, the abundance of life on Sith is but one element that connects the seemingly primordial world together. Across the plants are psychically charged ley lines marked by paths of trailstones, linked in networks that stretch across barrel nexuses, conjunction seals, and shrines. These visible aspects of a global psychic energy grid penetrate to Sith's fiery core and infuse its rocky bones. This is the planet's world spirit. It is a resting place for Exodite souls, an interface by which the skilled amongst the living can commune with them, and a haven from the predations of Slaanesh. Sith's world spirit was the work of centuries, while seemingly idyllic from orbit, the planet is a dangerous place, and many Exodites, though incredibly long-lived by human standards, died before it was complete. These pioneers are mourned still. They died unable to have their souls find sanctuary in the world spirit, instead being eagerly claimed by Slaanesh. It would be amazing if, one of the... Actually, have they got any of that currently in the lore? Of, an Eldar god saving some of the souls? Or, like, a shard of one of their gods managing to, like, create a safe haven within the warp? Not saving every Eldari soul, but a small collection of them. That would be really fun. I am not going to watch Invincible, and I have no plans to watch Invincible. Or for boys. It's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. The dangers of Sith are accepted and embraced by the Exodites as tests of endurance and skill. For carnivorous plants, some seductively subtle, others shockingly swift. And diseases kept alive much of the rest of the world's life forms. Both rockfalls, flash floods, and unanticipated eruptions of caustic spumes of lava. Occasionally, parching droughts are caused by artificially ingrained fluctuations in the magnetosphere, allowing blasts of solar radiation to reach the surface. Above all, however, are the threats and the countless varieties of dangers that the world harbours. Sith's Exodite clans actively hunt many of the ferocious beasts, and willingly expose themselves to peril. They are seen as opportunities to test oneself, and of a striving discipline and self-sufficiency. suppress slivers of the true threats, obsession and excess that lead to she who thirsts. Exodites of Sith. So this is Sith for world. Oh, those must be for ley lines then. Or for world spirit. Interesting. Very verdant. I mean, it's still mostly blue rather than mostly green, as you'd expect, I guess. In the long millennium since the fall, the Exodite clans of Sith have woven themselves into the world's fabric. Hey, Flash, how ya doing? We're reading about the Exodites. They're cool things. We've learned some new stuff. We learned that they... For maiden worlds, you know, have specific life there, which is why maiden worlds will often have, you know, the same life as a different maiden world, because, you know, the Eldar made it. And we also learned that they brought, that the Exodites specifically brought the dragons with them, hence why all of the Exodites, or most of them, probably have access to these dragons. Oh yeah, and the creatures are called dragons, not dinosaurs. Oh... But what else is in the millennia since the fall, the Exodite clans of Sith have woven themselves into world's fabric. Each clan claims a territory that its people fiercely protect. In defending against outright invasion and deflecting rampaging megafauna and insidious vegetation, the clans often coordinate their efforts. There are precision raids and territorial combats by rival groups of honor, and duels and ritual hunts between competing hunting parties. But total war between Exodite clans is vanishingly rare. Total war? Warhammer 40k, total war. Exodite is confirmed. I mean, it could be confirmed for all we know. All are part of Sith, living cells of planet's global weave. Will they dominate the maiden world? I wonder if they actually still have their ships. So, like, if they did need to travel, like, are there some Exodites that, you know, populate entire chains of worlds, and like they sometimes will capture a new world and reform it? That would be cool. And you might think that they'd have fleets to defend themselves if a fleet did come into orbit and decide to bombard the maiden world. Suddenly their ships just appear, obliterate the fleet, and then disappear again. That would be cool. Both they dominate the maiden world, and their clans are spread across its continents. The Exodites are scattered people and few in number compared to the teeming human populations that inhabit imperial worlds. Sith hosts no great cities or slender spires, which are known to crown the habitations of other Eldari. In part, this serves to avoid attracting the attention of invaders, or offering up targets at orbital bombardment. It is also a consequence of Exodite's ceaseless nomadic existence. Small groups may roam their lands for a long period of time, often hunting, maintaining the world spirit, or managing the herds and packs of the clan's dragons, without seeing any other Eldari. When large groups congregate, it is temporary. They typically gather among structures of tough yet gossamer thin canopies stretched between slender supports. Such transitory architecture is easily reshaped into compact bundles that can be carried away or hidden. This mass compression technology and others, including extremely advanced laser weapons, portable fabricators, subatomic lacing, energy webs, and psychically activated instrumentation, were brought to Sith by the first Exodites to reach it. Oh my gosh, so they got fabricators, they got the Subnautica fabricators, what the heck? Yeah, hello Ceridwin, hello Kamiti, it's a space wood elves, kind of, yeah. And they're still super advanced technologically. And they're called solar lasers or whatever, so I'm guessing they're powered by the sun. Or they're as hot as the sun. These ancients had rejected some arts of a failing Eldari empire, but they believed would circumvent the need for honest labour and focused toil, and therefore deepen the soul stain of their people. While some clans, should I lower this down? I should, so you can read it easier. There we go. I'll bring it a bit down there. There we go. Eco-friendly lasers. Yeah, eco-friendly lasers. Well, some clans on Sith had gone further than their ancestors. Wait, what's this? And therefore deep for soul stain. Oh yeah, so we are here. While some clans in Sith had gone further than their ancestors over millennial, refusing to use certain sciences their forebears brought, others preferred techniques largely forgotten or abandoned by the rest of their species. However, even these clans that eschew some of the Exodites' technology possess potent weapon and eldritch war gear far beyond the galaxy's other species. Like all, it's including the Necrons. Who's got a better tech? Necrons or Eldar? At the height, probably Eldar. Right now, probably Dark Eldar. Although close second is the Necrons. Like all Eldari, the Exodites or Sith are physically graceful. They possess an instinctive poise, but every precise movement, subtle and elegant. Among the keen senses and hidden strengths of their minds. For maiden worlds, puritanical Exodites, these strengths are best hardened against obsession and excess through personal endeavour. The acts of crafting one's own possessions and learning how to survive the maiden world see them become adept in a host of skills. Such talents take a long time to master, but the Exodites' long lives and self-imposed isolation grant them a chance to reach heights other species can't hope to achieve. Together with their physical traits, these varied skills and exceptional war gear makes a clan's warriors incredibly deadly. When roused and massed, a clan host is an awesome force that slices into the foe with the finesse of a finely thrust rapier. And therefore, in darting paths, other clans host elite dragon war knights, warrior lords of a clan mounted upon swift and fierce drake steeds. Where are they now, the blind who decried our forebearers? They crawl across the void in haunted ivies. They skulk in foetid shadow realms. They writhe in torment. It is plain who chose the correct cause. Morphiel, Laystalker of Clan Greytrain. So they do know some of their guys are still alive. Hunt from the void. For orcs. I wonder if are we only going to learn about Sith today? Or can we learn about other Exodites? I'm guessing Sith is meant to be like, you know, very basic Exodites. So you got Venom Crass, Drake Scales, Red Maws, Dragon Masters. Story. Yeah, so it looks like we're not learning about specifically just the Exodite. Or we're not learning about the Exodites themselves. More just this one group of Exodites and their various clans. Which is interesting, I guess. Okay, for Hunt from the Void. The most psychically sensitive of these Exodites were the first of the living to learn about the coming invasion, but it was the dead who told them, the world spirit, rooted in the planet's fabric and connected to every living thing, began to vibrate as it picked up the growing resonance of a war cry that echoed through the war. The orcs are coming! Yeah! Almost no Exodite worlds appear on Imperial cartographs under the Eldari name or any other. Astrolithic Aries of the closest Necron dynasties rarely mark them, but they were barren rock when the Necron charts were last calibrated. Among the craft worlds, the huge solar-sailed vessels, on which the last Eldari to flee, before cling to existence. Few know of more than a handful. Seath is no exception. Its very remoteness is its principal defense. This, together with an obscurating aura channeled from its world spirit that hides it from sorcerer's scrutiny, has largely allowed the Exodite world clans to evade species that would lay waste to it. Nevertheless, across the millennia, vanguard scouts of larger threats have chanced upon the world. Rogue traders, kin prospects, and once the questing tendril of a high fleet. Ooh! A high fleet is actually attacked them. Each time, though the cost has been horrifically high in Eldari lives, Sith's Exodites have ensured no... Sorry, pardon me. Have ensured no replicas invaders have ever left to spread word of their prize. Rogue traders! We've been playing Rogue Trader! Remind us never to go to an Exodite, although technically Jarnus was an Exodite world. Well, it might not be an Exodite world, it was a Maiden world. Probably it was actually an Exodite world because we did get a weird event with what seemed like it might have been world spirits. So, you know, Jarnus. Not every Exodite world has managed to survive. On this occasion, however, what the souls of Sith had detected through the resonance of a world spirit was not a resource-hungry scouting force, but a bow wave of intent that told of a hunting fleet of beast snagger orcs. Beast War Fangripper thundered through the warp aboard a ramshackle armada of brutish junk vessels. The concentrated build-up of aggression, enthusiasm, and raucous excitement gripping the beast boss Fangripper's lads had reached a thumping supernatural percussion. Seers and witches in subsystems along the fleet's paths were tormented by nightmares. Seers and witches. Oh, so this is just saying like far seers and like human psychos and stuff were tormented by nightmares of a billion beasts warring, tides of stampeding marauders, booming fusillades, beating fists and teeming maws. Such were the echoes of a beast-snagger orc's fixation on the thrill of a hunt, and their own haphazard way they were honing in on a wealth of prey. Orcs do not have the patience or complex astronavigation. They do, however, have an uncanny sense for violence, and anything else that fires their obsessive mania. In the case of a subculture known as beast snaggers, they live for finding, running down, and clobbering the biggest and surliest prey they can find. Fangripper's tribe did not do so completely at random. Amongst the beast boss's cunning tools intended to provide a suitably dangerous, enjoyable hunt for his lads, he had Nogwart. The Werboy was usually shackled in a dung-strewn cage on the bridge of a Fangripper's flagship. This was close enough that the beast bogs could keep an eye on him, but far enough away that Nogwart's odd bursts of uncontrolled ectoplasmic vomit didn't melt Fangripper's face. What tribe are they actually part of? Because it just says the beast boss, the beast snaggers. But beast snaggers can be death schools, they can be they're most often snake bites, but they could be any of the major clans. They could be a mixture of the major clans, to be honest. It was Nogwart's fell psychic power that had led Beast War's Fangripper to what it spurts Fangripper to what in spurts of gibbering auricular delirium the Werboy had described as a world filled with horrific beasts. He ranted of hungering maws. I cannot read today. What's going on? Stampeding packs of horned predators and immense totems of weird power. I need to turn my air conditioner on. hoping the cat of a dragon anime comes out with both English sub and dub. What is the origins of Blood Axe's clan of orcs? So orcs in general. So do you know where people, like, humans live in a relatively ordered society usually, and as a such, when you're young and rebellious, you want to go the exact opposite. The list extra is hitting different today. It is. You want to go the exact opposite of what is ordered and structured. You want to be free. You want to be free to do your own stuff, have your own identity, stuff like that. Well, orcs are the opposite way around. Their societies are extremely loose and free. And there's very little rigid structure to it. Orcs don't usually like following orders. But the young orcs, they want to rebel from that idea. So they're like, hey, why not, follow orders? Why not have a rigid structure in life? So generally young orcs like to be, they're more likely to join the red schools or start doing stuff where they eventually form into groups and call themselves that. Blood Axes, sorry, not red schools. Red schools are a commando unit. Blood Axes, yeah. Storm Boys are also the exact same thing. Storm Boys are a lot more rigid. They like to have uniforms. They like to follow a structure. Not all Storm Boys are Blood Axes. In fact, many of the Goths start off as Storm Boys. And they're like, you know what, I don't like orders anymore. But some orcs, they continue liking that sort of stuff even as they get older. And this is especially true for the... Oh, what do they call them? Those who have witnessed the Imperium. Because a lot of people see the Imperium, especially like the Astra Militarum and the Commissars and stuff. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. The guy with the big hat's in charge. I want a big hat. I want a big old leather coat. I really like the uniforms. The uniforms are nice. I really like the commandos, the tactics. It's like, these humans are they might be small and weak, but they're super fighting. They're super good at fighting. I know we outnumber them and we're bigger and we're tougher than them, but they're winning battles. How are they doing this? So the red schools are like, the Blood Axes, sorry, like, oh my gosh. I'm going to start copying the I'm going to start using tactics. I'm going to start following orders. We're going to become the fightiest and best orcs around by using our noggins. Yeah, that's how the red schools work. So they generally have the best, tactical people. Big wars where they've got multiple clans within them and stuff. Small wars and your tribes and stuff might have multiple clans anyway. Because most tribes, not all tribes, but a lot of tribes will have multiple clans within it. The clans are like a part of orky culture. You're born knowing about the clans and wanting to join the clans. Human weeaboos, basically. Wereaboos. Not quite weeaboos. There's actually something called wereaboos, and it's people who, really, really like a certain empire. Or wannabe empire from the 40s. Yeah. And YouTube will hit me in the face for talk about it too much. But yeah, basically the orcs of that. That's what the Blood Axes are. Although initially, the Blood Axes kind of come from the earliest orc lore. Orcs were not as they are today. They weren't all ramshackle and crude. That came in the late 90s. Or was it early 90s? It came in the 90s. Orcs before then, though, were much more... They were basically the big bad guy of a setting in a lot of ways. They were evil. They had certain symbols in some of their, banners. They took a lot of influence from a very certain evil empire of the past. From the 40s. Germany. Yeah. That was the orcs, the very first era of the orcs, and where things like the Blood Axes and Storm Boys really come from. It's basically just an adoption of that. As we went on, though, the Imperium, you know, became a bit more like that. The orcs themselves became more ramshackle and free. But the Blood Axes basically retain a lot of that earlier lore within them. So yeah, the Blood Axes are also generally the more cruel ones. Like, you will see them capture people, you'll see them torture people, you'll see them do all sorts of weird things. Yeah. But they're also the ones that, you know, if you're a human and you want to do some trading with orcs, or you want to hire some orc mercenaries, Blood Axes are the way to go. Yeah, Death Schools are definitely not the ones you want to do that with. I mean, Stormboys is pretty on for noise for context. Yeah, the Stormboys come from that time period. They were also quite inspired by the Huns, like Attila the Hun and stuff. Which is why, you know, you still see some of those weird helmets of, well, not weird, but deal with the tufts of fur around it and the little spike and the whatever. That look like the same sort of hats like Mongolians or Huns had. And also why in still Warhammer Fantasy you still have things like the Goblin Khan and, you know, some of those influences. So it's interesting. Orc lore has evolved a lot over the years. So there's actually two ways of where it comes from. Lore, it's mostly young orcs who are rebelling against orky culture. And just some people who think like the Imperium is cool and so on. And in real life, that's what all orcs were at one point. So yeah. Okay. The visions were so strong that he had latched onto it, even though some flickering eldritch shadows had initially hidden the world from his gaze. To Fangrip and his beast snaggers, it sounded like paradise, with all these giant monsters. Nogwarts seized deers, chompers. Oh, seized the deers, chompers down, deer. I thought it was going to be choppers, not chompers. With teeth bigger than me. We's gonna hunt and fight, and we's gonna have a good time doing it. Don't forget, the biggest ones is mine. I can't do an orc voice right now, my throat hurts. Fang Ripper, the school breaker. Wait, how do... You have to do, like, one of those weird accents. Water. Air. No what's these deers choppers down there. No, I can't do it. Orcs' ramshackle ships entered orbit in a ragged mass, with each of the Fangripper's warbands intent on reaching the surface before any others. Several collided, breaking up in the atmosphere as burning shadows of debris and bodies. But there were so many that it made little difference. Darting strikes by alien, flimsy-looking ships gutted others, and a few orc vessels... Oh, so they do have their own ships. And a few orc vessels broke off to chase them into the system's depths. Fangrippers hoped the alien ships indicated a prospective fight with the world's inhabitants, spewing great swarms of landers, or by the simplicity, expediency of crash landing the beast boss vessels, delivered what remained of his tribe across a swathe of one continent. The fury of the Sun Serpent. The region bearing the brunt of Beastnagger's Fangrippers is the territory of three Exodite clans. Fainath of the Witherlands, the Haladolia people of the Volcanic Peaks, and the clan of the Sun Serpent, who had held densely forested valleys in between. The Stone Singers, specialized psychers of the Sun Serpent, learn of the oncoming orcs by heeding urgent whispers from the souls of the world spirit. These psychers act as emissaries between the hierarchs of the living and the undercourts of the dead. The undercourts are described by the Stone Singers as comprising circles of spirit nobility. Spirit nobility, oh my gosh! Alright, done painting, time for your dopamine, opening your packages, yay! If a new Jurassic Park world comes out, how will they make that? I don't know. I think it will just be mentioned offhand. If it's mentioned at all. That's generally the best way to do it. Maybe have some people at his funeral meeting up at the funeral. That's how I'd do it. You know, be respectful to the actor who's now passed. And I probably want to, you know, mention it to some extent. Maybe start the movie with a bunch of the, you know, previous characters of the films, you know, at a funeral. Yeah. It works well. But what we're doing? Oh yeah, so there's clans of spirit nobility in death. So that means, even in death, you've still got a class system for rich people. Oh my gosh. Yeah, could you imagine that thinking, oh my gosh, I hate for nobility. At least when you die, it'll be all over. And I can like, just live in heaven. No, you're still a peasant. Even when you die, you're still a peasant. You're still going to be kicked around by the nobles. There's no escape. Maybe it would be better just to go to Slanesh. I put for models in the Discord if you want to take a look. Yay! I believe that. Oh. Even in death, they rule you like mummies in the Mesoamerica. Oh gosh, looking at the new Nurgle models. Looking at your Nurgle models. Oh, they're very pretty. Oh yeah, gosh, you got like iridescent Nurgle. I'm gonna show them on stream unless you say no. Bam 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 ba da ba da bam ba da ba da bam ba 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 bam. 5. Wait, anything new here? Anything new here? There we go. Iridescent Nurgle of things. I like that. That's like the same sort of colour that bugs are in real life. A kind of shimmeringness to them. Nice. Okay, by stone singers as comprising circles of spirit nobility, spiraling down and increasing authority towards an uttermost nadir that mirrors the peak of its living counterpart. This structure is portrayed in runic signals as an inverted reflection of the clan's own rulership, which rises in a metaphorical spire ringed by circuits of nobility. These echo the circlets of steels that mark the world's spirit's surface nodes. Together, the clan's stone singers see the two hierarchies as forming a spindle of fate, whose thread binds this people taut. Just as the planet's orbit of its star is bound by celestial mechanisms engineered by the ancient Genesis mechanism. That sounds awful. I used acrylic ink and bright silver dry brush base technique I was talking about. Ooh, that sounds fun. Look, I truly believe that the Inquisition should be censored. Bring in and be made comfortable for their crimes. Made comfortable by their... Oh, you mean that you think the Inquisition should be brought to justice for their crimes? I think Gulliman would agree with you. Although most of Inquisitors that committed those crimes, you know, are long dead now. Listening to you reading the law. Can you do more reading streams? We used to do more of them, but the issue is that not as many people are tuning in or liking the stream, so I kind of, you know, cut back on doing that many reading streams. I know some people really like them. If people are enjoying these, you know, remember to like the stream, tell me you enjoy it, watch the stream as well. Yeah, the Inquisition being brought to justice is an interesting concept that could potentially happen. But you've also got many other branches of the Imperium that could be brought to justice. You've got all the various governors. You've got many rogue traders. You've got... what else is there? You've got the Intestire, do you know Scholar Pogninium? Go with the Sisters of Battle. And the Commissars, and the Commissariat in general, and the Tempesta Saiyans, which are basically just a war crime generator machine. Literally, it feeds itself via war crimes and perpetrates more war crimes. It creates more orphans and more people for the Scholar Pogninium. I've already got the entire church. But in the Imperium, the Inquisition rarely does many crimes. Like, most of the things you'd want to try the Inquisition for crimes, you know, the Imperium just wouldn't recognize as a crime. Exterminate a single world, who cares? That's normal. The Imperium think that's fine. Killing lots of people, the Imperium thinks that's fine. Destroying entire Xenos races, the Imperium thinks that's fine. Working with the Eldari, oh, now that's not fine. But working with the Eldari to undermine the Eldari, now that is fine. Using Xenotech, maybe that's fine. The Inquisition said it's fine, so it must be fine. You know, so it is one of those things. They do have some accountability, and that's generally the thing of the Inquisitors. But Inquisitors purposely try not stepping on one another's toes. And sometimes this can mean by, you know, holding back on some of the stuff they'll do because they know it would step on other Inquisitor toes. That being said, there are some Inquisitors out there who have, you know, upset other Inquisitors enough, especially those above them, that it's a bit of them in the butt. You've also got the Lords of Terror and stuff who can hold them to accountable, the Council of Terror. You've also got the Assassinarium, who can also hold them accountable. It's not unheard of for assassins to be dispatched to take out rogue Inquisitors, or Inquisitors that have been deemed too dangerous. Although often these are the more iconoclastic Inquisitors that, you know, you actually would want around. Like, modern people would think they're good people, but obviously the Imperium doesn't think they're good people. So yeah, they do have some accountability there. But generally, in most places they are the highest authority. That being said, like a rogue trader and an Inquisitor, while in the rogue trader game we do see an Inquisitor putting rank over us, we do see within the laws of the Imperium and so on, like the text, he doesn't really have that much authority to do that. It's just that we're also not in much of a position to say no to him either. Especially since both of our goals align, and that's trying to bring balance to the Expanse. You know, trying to stop everything die. So, on top of this, Gulliman doesn't want necessarily to yet audit the Inquisition, because the Inquisition is useful. But all that's bad about it, the ability to find a good Inquisitor, like Gulliman knows Inquisitors he trusts, or at least trusts enough, where the Inquisitorial authority is incredibly useful. Even in the Gate of Bones, we see some good Inquisitors. If it's the Gate of Bones or was it the Avenging Sun, we see a good Inquisitor there. And it's the efforts of that Inquisitor that, you know, saves the Crusade. Yeah, the Inquisition does all sorts of stupid stuff. Also, there's plenty of rogue Inquisitors out there who, you know, have become so disillusioned with humanity and the Imperium that they actually want to see the downfall of it. And they basically use Inquisitorial power to just absolutely trounce the Imperium. That's funny because the Inquisition was implemented by Malcador, so you know Big E's most trusted man. Yeah. The other funny thing is when you see two Inquisitors that disagree. I think it's Fall of Cadia that has two Inquisitors. Basically, one of them's like, we need to exterminate Cadia, exterminate every single person. And then you just got Greyfax being like, no. And Greyfax is an absolutely terrible person as far as Inquisitors go. But yeah. Which just shows you, it's like when two Inquisitors are both taking an interest in the same thing, it can get very messy. Inquisitors can also be exceedingly selfish without even thinking of themselves as selfish. In fact, that's often a running theme, the entire hypocrisy. Or that's often a running theme of most of the 40k. Because hypocrisy is an incredibly human emotion after all. Most humans are hypocritical to some extent. In fact, most people are extremely complex beings. It's like in fiction, we'll often see characters that we'd think are incredibly unrealistic. You know, because they hold one ideal at the same time of holding a completely opposite ideal that you don't think can coincide. Yet, humans often do that. In fact, it's a very, very common thing to do, to have two completely ideals that won't work together. But but that in itself is hypocrisy. Or a type of hypocrisy anyway. And I really like that. But generally, when we do see the Inquisitors, especially like proper characters, we will see them being hypocritical. We will see them causing conflict. We will see them being selfish. Because that's interesting to read. It's fun. Generally, the only times you're going to see more heroic Inquisitors is when they're either a minor character or it's in a footnote. Because it's kind of boring to read about that guy, and it's also not that grimdark. And, you know, you need to keep your setting grimdark. It's like the Inquisitor I mentioned before, he wasn't a major character within Defending Sun. We only ever see little bits of him from other characters' points of views. And these characters themselves have a lot of conflict going on. They're conflict generators. That's what characters are in stories. They're conflict generators. So yeah. So I just went on a tangent there, just talking about them. Oh, so hi, Jebica man. How you doing, Jeb Kerman? Jeb Kerman! Jeb! How you doing, Jeb? Just look at Primarchs. Primarchs, yeah, they're hypocritical. I think my favourite hypocritical one to currently read about is just for Iron Warriors, because it's just hilarious reading them. It's not just hypocritical, it's just the constant contradictions. It's not just Iron Warriors, a lot of them are like that. Emperor's Children, you'll often have their point of view of the world, and then you'll have the reality of itself. The Emperor's Children view everything from their own warped gaze, where they think one thing, and then just like, but the reality of the world is not what they think it is. Like, they'll think everyone loves them, but it's very clear from anybody else, and from even just reading their own point of view, that that's not correct, but that's what they think anyway. And that's a really good, you know, just constant contradiction appearing. But then you got the Iron Warriors, who basically just always think lesser of everybody else, including other Iron Warriors. And that's where they get contradicted a lot by the story itself. Of, you know, nothing is ever as bad as they think it is. So no, Matorian, he isn't hypocritical. I don't know about Matorian, to be honest. Guilliman, I wouldn't say is that hypocritical, to be honest. I think he is to some extent, but most of the time he's also grappling with the fact that he's being hypocritical. But Guilliman is the one I've read most about, because obviously he's the one that gets written the most about. I saw a typo the other day when someone called them Iron Warriors. It seemed to fit. Yeah, the Iron Warriors. I can see reading about the Iron Warriors, though I can see why people like them. They're quite fun to have their point of view in stories. And they can also be quite a good antagonist, to be honest. You know, a very relentless, very not stoic, opposite of stoic, really. Well, it doesn't matter how hard you beat them, they're going to constantly be hitting you. They're the kind of people who, if they can't reach you, they will rip off their own arm just to batter you in the face with it. And I kind of love that about them. It's so stupid. It's like, you're just a bit out of reach. Go rip off my arm, or use it as a club to hit you. Like, sure, it would hurt them more than it would hurt you. But as long as it's hurting you, they don't care. Oh. It's hilarious. Iron Warriors are silly. Sorry, wait, I got distracted. We're talking about Exodites today. So, together the clan's stone singers see the two... Oh yeah, we already read that bit. So what we've got is the world spirits are filled with spirits, and they have a class hierarchy with nobles, with different levels of nobles. So even in death, you cannot escape, you know, being a peasant. The stone singers' warnings as omens of nearby tide of blood and violence rise rapidly through the sun serpent nobility as the orc vessels reach the outer systems. They are joined by siren chimes sung from roads along the planet's approaching routes. The warning sparked a clan-wide covenant court, the first to be held in centuries. Such is the perceived danger. Drawn from across the Sun Serpent territory, its lordly champions congregate within the cradle of Dragonfire, under the auspicious auspices of the clan's ruler, Lady Morel of the Bloodbriar. That sounds like a cornic name. The site is a sacred nexus of their clan, a place of a world spirit power coalesces, where their people gather in ritual triads, and where they return to unburden their minds of emotion and enrich the living of the dead. And the dead, sorry. They're fairly competent and organised compared to other Chaos factions. Yeah, reading about the Iron Warriors and immediately going into a Emperor's Children book, I just realised, I mean, the Iron Warriors are constantly, like, all gunning for one another's jobs because they all think themselves the best. But for as far as I've read in the Iron Warrior book so far, like, an Iron Warrior doesn't like being subservient to another Iron Warrior because he thinks that Iron Warrior is stupid and he should be the one in charge. And meanwhile, the one in charge is like, all of you are stupid and I need to do everything myself. So that's where some of their organisation disappears, and it's like very fragile for entire leadership. But compared to the Emperor's Children, and it's like night and day, with the Iron Warriors might as well just be a fully functioning, organised people. Like, the Emperor's Children just aren't there thinking, hey, you're stupid. They're like, hey, I'm better than you, you're stupid, I'm going to stab you in the face now. It's like, the moment your back is turned and I think I can win, I will stab you in the face. It's like, yeah, I know, but you're going to fail because I'm better than you. Iron Warriors are the most strategically competent of the Chaos factions. Alpha Legion and Night Lords are the more tactically organised. I'd say Alpha Legion at the moment are probably the most strategically competent. The Iron Warriors, maybe at their height as a legion, was the most strategically competent. But as it stands now, they absolutely suck. In fact, the Black Legion is probably the top in terms of being actually competent. They can organise a lot of people together from different groups. They can do massive campaigns across the entire galaxy. They're much more organised than the Iron Warriors are in that regard. When it comes to like the Alpha Legion, they've got a goal, they'll probably do it way more efficiently and effectively than the Iron Warriors would do. The Iron Warriors are extremely wasteful and so untrusting that it completely ruins a lot of their strategical and tactical acumen. And they often underestimate their foes to a massive level from everything I've read so far. Like, seriously, the reason they're losing is because they're just so own-headed effectively. Like, they think, oh, we take this world, even though there's Astra Militarum here and one of the best strategic minds of all time. Yeah, we'll easily take this world. What do you mean we're struggling? What do you mean there's like the place we thought would fall within a few days? It's been weeks and we've still not taken it. What do you mean the Imperial Fists are here? It's like, well, it's only a small group of Imperial Fists. They couldn't stop us. What do you mean they stopped us? It's like they're just constantly underestimating everything. If they actually didn't underestimate them to begin with, they could have easily won. Or if they didn't waste their resources deciding to punch some other Chaos factions in the face that they should have been able to trust. Alpha Legion can operate in cells, though, and sometimes these cells come into conflict. Yeah, true, but the same goes for the Iron Warriors. It's one of the reasons when Perturabo did his great campaign, or what's it called? You know, I forgot the name, the Grand something or other. Where he's organised them into different groups, but most of these groups operate quite far away from one another because he knows full well if they operated too closely, they'll probably just butt heads. No, it's not the Grand Citadel. It's the Iron Warriors, each of their... It's the Infinite Citadel that he's building. It's either Great or Grand. It might be Grand Companies, actually. Well, basically, they're small leap for chapters, effectively, of anywhere from a couple of hundred to a couple thousand Iron Warriors together. I don't know if I call the Alpha Legion efficient. They get the job done, but in the most convoluted way possible. Yeah, it's convoluted. The Night Lords! The less chaos-corrupted Night Lords and the more organised Night Lord warbands are probably some of the most effective out there of just any individual group. Of being well organised, using good tactics, being rather efficient in the way they do stuff. With that being said, they still just needlessly cause chaos and violence that would have been better if they didn't try doing that. So, you know. Bit insidious of how Alpha Legion do their stick. Yeah. Ultimately, I say the three most organised groups out of any of them, as like a whole, because the Night Lords are definitely not organised as a whole, but they absolutely suck as a whole. I mean, there's definitely a couple of warbands out there that are very effective at what they do, though. The Iron Warriors, the Alpha Legion, and the Black Legion. The Black Legion is by far the biggest and overall most organised, I'd say. But unfortunately, it's completely riddled with infighting and, you know, Abaddon goes, hey, do this, and then everyone's like, now do something else. Like, still, it's like, hey, yeah, I'll attack the planet, but not as you said. It's like, if they did what Abaddon said, yeah, it would have gone well, but they didn't because, you know, they're stupid. Iron Warriors. Out of any of the original legions, discounting Black Legion, then yeah, the Iron Warriors are by far the most organised as a whole, I'd say. Partly because they've still got their Primarch around, and that Primarch's interested in ruling them. Hi, Briar! Oh, Dreamer Raid! Oh my gosh, we still need to finish reading this as well. I hope you had a fun stream. Big load love hearts to you guys. Coming on in. Hi, TA. Hope everyone... Yeah, we're doing well today. I hope you're doing well. Oh, it's the Exodites of the Dinos. Yeah, we got Dino. We got Dino dogs. We got... Actually, they're apparently dragons, not dinosaurs. So, yeah, we got Dragon dogs. Dragon Dino dogs. I got Drago Dino Riders with lances and laser rifles, and I broke this off again. Dinosaurs, yeah, we're reading about them. They're basically like the Amish of the Eldar. Or Wood Elves of the Eldar. Space Wood Elves, that's the best way to describe them. Drakes! No, they literally call them dragons, not just drakes. Oh yeah, the Death Guard are quite united in purpose. That's true. That's very true. I hope you had a fun stream, bio. Welcome in. I'm Cupcake Conjuror in name and profession. First name Cupcake, second name Conjurer. I like to conjure cupcakes, and today we're reading about Exodites, which are dinosaur. Look at that. Look at that. And look at the back of this book. It's so nice. Oh. It's got a little bookmark and everything. Yeah, we're reading about these guys. They're basically oops, I lost my page. They're basically space wood elves. And they're currently being attacked by orcs who want to kill all the creatures on them. On their planet. I'll read about how they responded. With orc ships nearing the Sun Serpent territory, the largest of which is prophesied to hit terrifyingly near the cradle of Dragonfire, the Covenant Court is charged with intensity. Days later, some clan nobles are still debating. Transgressions mount in a catalogue of woe. Despoliation of the clan's territories, the butcher of their dragons, and worst of all, the desecration of the world spirit architecture. The fury of the Sun Serpent seeps into the cradle of Dragonfire. It meets the rising of the ire of the world spirit, and spreads to every native life form unto the jungles with sound of draconic wars. You bought 66 models and painted 140 in the past 2 weeks, so technically I'm on a positive. Yay! Ooh. Who could have possibly guessed that the Forces of Chaos would struggle with things like cohesion and order? Yeah! Oh, well, that's true for most of the factions in 40k, if I'm entirely honest with you. Even the Imperium isn't very cohesive until Gulliman came around. And even then it struggles to be. The response of the Sun Serpent clan's nobility is swift, but tempered with wisdom.
So, the Exodite worlds are just Pandora. Got it.
Worse than Pandora from the sounds of it. But yeah, very similar to Pandora, but with, okay, more tech than Pandora. More dangerous creatures and flora and fauna and bacteria than Pandora. Way more tech. Like, imagine if you met the Navi and they just pulled out a laser rifle that's more advanced than your spaceship. And, you know, they shot like 60 of your men in a few seconds. So, yeah, and then you shot at them, and then, you know, a force field appeared around them. And he kept shooting at them, and they're just like, hey, I've got a force field, bud. And they just shot you back. So, yeah, they're not... They're a bit more advanced. They're still more advanced than, like, the Imperium, for the most part. Doing a lesser running Avatar game, be like... There's an Avatar game? Oh, yeah, we saw the Avatar game. Meets the aliens' reckless fuck. The majority of the clan host is tasked to scatter and hide their strength until it is needed. It is the clan's greatest warriors who ride out first, in its teams of dragon masters. They are sent by Lady Miriel to splint the orc raw bands, bleed their aggression and deflect their stampedes, readying them for a bloody cull. Foremost amongst Miriel's dragon masters are the 3 hunters known as the Moonstone Triad. Corian Fate Spear, Fiona Echo Blade, and Fel Dusk Rhyme. Swear their fates to safeguarding the cradle of Dragonfire from defilement. Its survival and purity inextricably linked to their own world. The ground trembles under Casron Fate Spear. He feels tormented air snatch at his hood. He hears the rumble of breaking earth and the thud of falling trunks. Lead their aggression. Orcs, do these knife ears have a clue? I don't think so. Although orcs themselves can have faltering moral. Like if you faltering, that's it. Like if you do destroy them enough, especially with hit and run tactics, they'll get very upset and be like, I don't want to fight here anymore. I want to go somewhere else where I can fight proper. He feels tormented He feels tormented air snatch at his hood. He hears the rumble of breaking earth and thud of falling trunks. The world seems to shudder in repugnance. A loamy moss swirls across the valley. A loamy moss swirls across the valley slope. He, Fronar, and Vale occupy, steeped in the immersion of flora and fauna. Along the valley to the riverlands, the Lace Darker sees pillars of oily smoke. The ridge of the valley's far slope is lit with distant infernos, each an arc landing site. Through the slope's canopy, he sees the sapphire faults of the sky, scarred with contrails and marred by the shadows of invaders' bloated vessels. Covenant senses Seeth's anger as a diffuse roar. The acrid scent from the valley. Oh yeah, the world is called Seeth, so the world itself is angry. Connor senses Seeth's anger, the acid scent from the valley, the indignant planet's warning display. By contrast, his is a lance of enmity, focused upon the creatures pouring from the grotesque bulk half a mile below. Orc landing craft is seemingly wrecked. Its hull is torn in places. Fire blaze and dark fluids seep from open wounds. The craft's impact into the valley riverbed has half buried it. Out of all the races in Warhammer, I have no clue why the Eldar isn't extinguished yet. These arrogance, damning, imagine 90% of the human race died because they kept doing one thing. Let's do it again. They're not doing that though. The Craft World Eldar specifically don't do the things that led to the fall of the Eldari. The Exodites certainly don't. The Dark Eldar do, but they're within the webway. And they mostly feed on pain and suffering. The Dark Eldar also exist within the webway in the largest and most fortified webway city. In fact, Common Wrath, or Common Wrath, how it's pronounced, is probably the largest and most populated planet in the entire universe, or at least in the entire galaxy. It's got potentially, I think that in the old codex at least, potentially trillions of Dark Eldar live there. All of them functionally immortal. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them functionally immortal. Especially in the larger cabals. So yeah, it's insane. On top of that, they exist scattered all around the webway. They have worlds in real space as well, apparently. The Eldar themselves, there's literally trillions of Eldars. There's countless. There's not countless, but there's thousands of like minor craft worlds, as your major craft worlds as well, which have potentially billions of Eldar living on them. You've also got Eldar planets and cities that they build, which have large populations. Like in terms of how many Eldar there are versus how many Tau there are, the Tau are the Eldar much wider dispersed. There's much more of them. And they've also got the best technology in the galaxy. Actually, right now, it probably goes Dark Eldar, Necrons, Craft World Eldar, Exodite Eldar. Well, probably... Actually, no, probably Tech Priests are somewhere along here, actually. You know, the height of Dark Age technology. And then, Exodite Eldar and the Imperium as a whole. Then the Orcs. Then the Tau. And the Photan are just above the Imperium. Yeah, the Exodites fled the Eldar Empire before. The Exodites are basically like the Amish today. They are extremely reserved. They shun much of the technology. They still have a lot of the advanced tech, but they shun most tech. They also shun the idea of pleasure and stuff like that. They believe, very similar to the Imperium actually, that life itself is and should be suffering. And it's within suffering that they, you know, better themselves. Maybe not quite suffering, but, you know, they want their lives to be in danger constantly. They want to have to fight to survive. They think life should be a struggle. That's a better thing. They think life should be a struggle, not necessarily suffering. The Imperium as a whole thinks life should be suffering. Exodites think life should be a struggle. The Craft World Eldar, late raid message, hi Paladin Stem. Yeah, they're about toil. And the Craft World Eldar are about, what would you say the Craft World Eldar are about? I guess about simplicity and modesty for the most part. No, modesty is the wrong word. They're still very arrogant. Honing one's skills and abilities. That's it. The Craft World Eldar are all about honing one's skills. Like, if you're really good at building something, if you like making things, then get really, really good at making for one specific thing, or like a collection of specific things. If you're really good at fighting, then hone in onto one martial art. Or if you're incredibly good, you can do multiple martial arts. That's just basically the shrine hosts. Yeah, focus and meditation. And the Dark Eldar are the ones that continue although the Dark Eldar themselves don't necessarily continue into excess and self-indulgent. In fact, their society doesn't even have a lot of excess and self-indulgent. It does have quite a bit, but most Dark Eldar don't live a life like that. You'll find the ones at the top do, but even them, if they're like, the society is such a backstabbing society that most of the time they're spent, like, again, just fighting to survive, really. The homunculus are the ones that are the most self-indulgent, I'd say, out of everybody, and then maybe Absolfect himself, but even then he's constantly plotting and scheming to, you know, to stay where he is. So it's, well, for most Dark Eldar, it's like, it's not necessarily that they enjoy suffering. In fact, there's been multiple hints at, you know, not all Dark Eldar do enjoy causing suffering and pain and torment unto others. And, you know, thrilling the senses. Many of them would like to live a normal life, but for them, the only way to live is to feed them pain, because if they're not feeding them pain, their soul is going to be devoured by Slaanesh. Which is why you get so many joining, like the likes of the Inari and stuff, because they'd like to actually stop having to do that. And why you get some of them like become Corsairs. They don't want to join the Dark Eldar, they don't want to be in that den of depravity. And as a result, they join the Corsairs. So I wonder if there's any craft worlds at the time of the fall that were occupied by Dark Eldar. No, they wouldn't be occupied by Dark Eldar. So the craft worlds, they're often said to be like having fled just before Slaanesh was born, basically, but it's not true. Some of them did flee a lot earlier. But most of the ones where, you know, people were like, oh my gosh, we need to flee, and they joined the craft worlds. So where you would have had Eldar that would have otherwise become Dark Eldar joining the craft worlds. They fled too late, and as a result, they got destroyed in the Cataclysm. It's like the Exodites who didn't flee far enough also got destroyed in the Cataclysm. I'm not actually sure how the Dark Eldar survived in the Webway, in Commonwealth and stuff. But obviously they weren't fleeing there, they were fleeing the heart of the Eldari Empire. Exodites are like the no, Exodites aren't like hippies. They're very different. The best way to describe them is like they're Amish. They shun technology, they shun extravagance, they shun having fun. Hippies are very different. Hippies are more like the Dark Elder, I'd say. You know, wanting to enjoy life, wanting to be free, have all of that stuff. The Exodites is all about toil, for about every moment should be a fight to survive. Exodites are like hippies. Craft Road Eldar need to stop fighting the Imperium. Actually, a lot of Craft Road Eldar don't want to fight the Imperium. You have a lot of instances of the Craft Road Eldar fighting the Imperium. It's the Imperium picking a fight with the Eldar, or the Eldar specifically being like, "Hey, we don't want to fight you. Can you please not go on this Maiden World? Hey, can you please not go on this Maiden World? You're going on the Maiden World. I warned you like 6 times. Okay, I'm going to shoot you now." Not all of them. Obviously, you got, is it Bao-Tan that just loves picking fights with the Imperium? You got Craft Roads that love picking fights with the Imperium. Because don't forget, the Craft Roads aren't united. In fact, there's some Craft Roads that are as likely to pick a fight with other Craft Roads as they are anybody else. Hi, Halisto. How you doing? Anyway, where we are. So the arcs spill from the cavernous opening of a wreck's flank. They bunch into mobs that spread out over the valley floor, some riding repulsive monstrosities of muscle, maws, and little else. That's the squigs, gathering in snorting packs, bullying through the teeming foot soldiers. In the third landing that the Moonstone Triad has scouted, it is the third landing that the Moonstone Triad has scouted since dawn. Those others, Corian marked, leaving them to be picked apart by other triads. This horde, however, is larger and already far too close to the cradle of the Dragonfire. Fate has marked it as a trial for the Lay Stalker and his bond. He watches the arcs with unblinking eyes, making slow and fluid movements to evade detection. The dragon beneath him, Withengloam, tenses minutely in balance, instinctively compensating for the Lay Stalker's shifts. The compact Sigilith hovers in front of the rider. Through the small artifact, he monitors the arcs and extrapolates strategic filaments. Its projected hollow overlay is a chameleon in shifted light, keyed to Corona's own psychic signature and invisible even to his own triad. The others are nearby, scrutinizing the arcs in their own way. Corian flicks his eyes. I'm going to keep changing how I pronounce this name. Flicks eyes to the right, where Fiona, Echoblade, and her steed Moonfury are statues amongst the foliage, each radiating a wrath that for now is chained. Brunei holds a slender monocular to her helmet's lens. 9 of the leaders cast the Clamblade's calm voice from Coriano's psychic. 9 of the leader cast comes the Clamblade's calm voice from Corian's psychoreceptor bead. Oh my gosh, sometimes all these sci-fi terms and words and names make it hard to read. Hi, Theon. More like Eldar traditionalists. Yeah, but Eldar traditionalists. They shun much of it. They still have incredibly advanced tech, but they shun most tech. In fact, from the sounds of it, there's some clans on this world of Sith, or if it's called, who completely shun almost all technology, and live very primitive lives by comparison. Well, it does seem that most of them, like, do you know how on Subnautica, where you got the fabricator, they've got access to fabricator tech, so you know, they live nomadic lives though. Except for Eldarko says most Eldars want to be left alone. Most Eldar, well, the Dark Eldar don't want to be left alone. They don't want to leave you alone, at least. So everybody is a pocket realm that is in the warp, but is shielded from the warp. So when Slaanesh was spawned in, they were safe-ish. They're not entirely safe and are now being soul-sucked. Yeah. Not all pockets of the webway were safe. Like, a lot of the branches of the webway were destroyed in the birth of Slaanesh. And a lot of the Eldar were lost. But it was the craft roads are mostly around where Slaanesh was born, so the heart of the Eldar space. Well, for ones that were still fleeing and still trying to pick up evacuees. Hi, Abby. Hey. Abby Noir. How you doing? And good night. Oh, go, have a good sleeps. Fiona's typical Terz report is tinged with melancholy. Echoes of an ancient loss reignited with the Orc's invasion. Corian knows she is waiting for a single huge Orc whose appearance will instigate the aliens' migration and give them
What were the enemies
direction.
you could encounter in Rogue Trader?
So far we've encountered Gene Stealers, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Cultists, Chaos Psychers, Chaos Snipers, random gangsters, other Imperial dudes, some Eldari we've encountered. We've encountered the Dark Eldar now. There's some spoilers here. Apparently with the new DLC we'll get some Necrons. I think we've already... Actually, we did meet a Necron, try some, probably teleporting into our ship. Or teleporting away. Just to say hi. But yeah, most of the enemies so far. We've not seen any Orcs. We've not seen any Photan. Trying to build these Underworld models. Underworld models! I got some Underworld models too. I've not built them yet. I don't know if I want to build them on stream or not. Some of the Cinchian ones, because I'm going to use them as powers. Just need to figure out how to base them of the correct spaces. Instigate vote. If that takes them towards the clan's most sacred space, the Triad will be ready. To Corian's left, Vale sits with his bowed head, one hand upon the neck of a ghost spite by Venom Crest. The Stone Singer has been tormenting the turbulent voices of the world, spirit for days, seeking to pass truths from the demands and indignant commandments of the undercarts. Vale's Drakensteed turns to glare at Corian. The Stone Singer remains frozen. I'm not sure how I feel about the entire, the spirit world. Actually, the spirits exist within the world spirit. As separate entities with each their own thoughts in a ruling caste and stuff. It feels a bit different from what I expected. This is a powerful mind at work amongst the Orcs. There's a powerful mind at work amongst the Orcs, whispers Vale, their voice faltering. Corian realizes the Stone Singer's mind is so focused that they dare not use a helmet's psychoreceptor. The undercurrents sense its brutal hunger and simplistic obsession for prey. It is focused here, now. It draws a claw north. It scratches a trail for them in. When the moment comes, the speed is electric. The Orc's bellows double in volume. Corian hears a hiss of drawn breath from Fiona. It's not shock or fear, but the eagerness of a supreme hunter spying her prized trophy. The Laystalker's Sigalith displays a sudden increase of mass to the Orcs, like a megadon appearing amongst a pack of Dracoliths. A Megalodon! Oh, we know what might be the next dinosaur. It might be a Megalodon. A Megalodon. A Megalodon. With an abrupt moment, the orcs surge north. Corian snatches his Sigilith from the air, and the three turn as one. Their Draco steeds race along a path that mirrors the orcs. Corian follows their progress, who grabs that flash eye as Ringloom bounds on. The orc's stomping mass charges, changes direction, and pounds up the far slope. It's the path Corian knows, one that no alien should find by chance. A route that could lead them to the cradle of Dragonfire. There is time to hunt the orcs before they reach it. Time to make them bleed from 1,000 bites. Corinin holds on to that hope as the jungles blur past. Bjorn's voice echoes in his psychoreceptor bead, a warning of the orcs' lethality readying them all. Vale's thoughts flow to the Triad too. The Stonesinger's concern for the cradle spirit steals Paylane. Corian marshals his plan and rides hard. Ooh, there they are. Fighting orcs. That doesn't look like a beast snag. That looks like a typical normal orc. Oh my gosh, he's doing the thing. You know, we just need to... I need a light. Light. This dude here. If he just had an arm pointing towards that, it would be hilarious. And then another orc here pointing as well. You know, for mem! Exodite Dragon Masters. When the greatest danger Stark and Exodite clan is the champion Beast Riders. Its champions Beast Riders gather in ritual triumvirate bands to hunt them down. A host Dragon Masters are exemplars of their clan's martial skill, adaptability and eldritch insight. Each epitomizes their clan's capacity to strike a precision blow that can twist fate to its advantage. The clan hosts of the Exodites rarely assemble in mass. As nomadic survivalists of a dwindling species, even their large clans do not have the numbers to sustain wars of attrition or grueling sieges, which could swiftly consume their populace. Like other Eldari, Exodites rely on their speed and maneuverability in matters of war. They employ evasive tactics to wrong-foot their foes with feigning surges and hit-and-run strikes, pairing advanced weaponry with exceptional martial skill, honed over centuries. What sets the clan hosts apart from the armies of their cousins, however, is the integration of varied species of dragons into their elaborately crafted strategies. Various species! Although we do know that there's going to be multiple types of Dracolith. Most renowned of the clan's host warriors are the dreaded by foes who face them in battle are the Dragon Knights. These shock cavalry are the Exodite's noble elite. They are proud lancers and quicksilver duelists in hard-wearing clan attire, who ride to war atop thick-scaled Draco steeds. So hard-wearing probably just means armor. Bearing razor-sharp fangs and talons, Draco Knights often form the tip of Vanguard spearheads or the closing jaws of outflanking maneuvers. At times they have deigned to make their war alongside the forces of the craft roads, joining harlequins in hunts from webway portals, or even served their clan's interests amongst the Yanari death cults. To these Eldari, Exodite Dragon Knights harken back to deities from the Eldar's fallen pantheon, depicted in preserved tales as hunting and making war atop exalted steeds. Amongst these, Erionsaf, daughter of a goddess Moria Hag, is said to have hunted sentient insanities from the back of Kadu, a beast wrought from a wisp of her mother's hair. Oh my gosh, are we going to get a new Eldari, you know, the way we've got for Avatar of Cain, for Avatar of Kado. Ritual battle dances meanwhile portray the war god Cain riding a legendary stream named Elaine in acts set during the war in heaven. Oh my gosh! An Avatar of Cain riding a giant dragon? That's a model. Can we have a fiery dragon being ridden by an Avatar of Cain, please? Oh my gosh, it can be a named character. Oh my goodness. The elite status of Dragon Knights is one of that is earned only after achieving a large breadth of skills through disciplined focus and practical experience. Dragon Knights are not only deadly mounted warriors, but also skilled scouts, hunters, and wilderness experts, as well as bearers of a finely honed psychic sensitivity. As revered as the Dragon Knights and their exploits are amongst the clans, they are eclipsed by the expertise and deeds of those who have attained the rank of Dragon Master. Over their long lifespans, as well as accumulating a raft of talents, these nobles occupy positions of command as paragons of their clan's strength, wisdom and skill. A single Dragon Master may lead grand hunts, craft the battle plans of whole armies, or provide esoteric insight, not only to their clan's ruler, but also those with the power over an entire Exodite world. When first their clans arise, the Exodites gather in person or via psychic or technological means to formulate their collective response. It is at such times that three Dragon Masters may make the bond of a triad, a meeting of their spirits, which will see them operate in a ritual group until the danger is past. These ritual bands formed of three veteran champions echo many triumphs known in Eldari myth and art. Each warrior occupies an equal point of a symbolic trinity, without any one possessing greater authority over the others. Every Dragon Master has a key role within the clan, while they will take up others for short periods to evade the law of obsessive focus that ensnares the most intense of aircraft worlder cousins. However, when crisis looms and the band of a triad is made, each Dragon Master serves their clan in the role they possess the most aptitude in. Ooh. So does that mean that the... No, I guess if a Stone Singer would still have to just be a Stone Singer. Like, I don't think your Dragon Master is necessarily going to be able to become a Stone Singer. Clan Blades are masters of close quarter combat. They are eager blade fighters hailed as their clan's martial exemplars. They engage in honor hunts against the champion of rival clans, and in battle identify the greatest individual threats to direct their triad towards. Stone Singers, by contrast, have honed their psychic gifts. They serve as druidic mystics who possess specialized knowledge of the world spirit and the psychic nexus of power. They heed the whispers of the dead, and in their defense manifest empiric elementalism to tear their foes apart. Meanwhile, Lace-Stalkers are finders of hidden ways and crafters of evasive strategy. These snipers hunt along the eldritch ley lines of the worlds, killing key targets from afar and ensuring their triad is always one step ahead. One issue with these textured backgrounds is sometimes you get areas like here where it's suddenly a bit difficult to tell exactly what it's meant to say. Ooh, nice art. So more Stone Singers. The Moonstone Triad of the Sun Serpent. I forgot which Primarch it was, Logor Fulgrim, that body slammed for Avatar of Cain. I have no idea who. Which one it would have been. I mean, Marneus Calgar defeated an Avatar of Cain, so I guess anyone can. Oh, you know, I'm gonna write, and I'm gonna go to GiveSprinkles and say, hey, can I write a character for it? It's like, no, but if we're gonna be a guardsman, a conscript, it's like, oh, that sounds terrible. It's like, yeah, but I want them to fight an Avatar of Cain. And they go like, I'm listening. And they're gonna beat the Avatar of Cain. It's like, how? Well, I'm thinking they do a running kick. No, do you know that move that Robin does? The knee attack from Teen Titans? Yeah, it's gonna do that to an Avatar of Cain. It's like, what? That sounds cool. Yeah, so now. So yeah, Games Workshop would definitely let me write a book if I had that in it. All of them at some point, except Ferris, because he failed to take his head start. Oh no, no! No bonded team of Dragon Masters are as renowned upon the world of Sith as the Moonstone Triad. Between them, the three champions of the clan of the Sun Serpent possess a millennia of experience. They are feted not only by their own people, but also by Siths of the clans and even Aldari allies across the galaxy, whom they have hunted. Oh. Nice. With whom they have hunted. Okay, that makes more sense. Hi, Kill, how you doing? When the Covenant Court of the Clan of the Sun Serpent dispersed, the Moonstone Triad were not the only ritual trinity of Dragon Masters to set out. Some were new groupings formed of champions only recently elevated from Dragon Knights, or leaders who had previously bonded with other individuals. It spoke to their skills, ties of kinship and determination to ride to the clan's defence, but from the first moment the champions of the Sun Serpent were able to seamlessly operate in the ceremonial triads. Unlike these new groupings, the trio of Korean Aistrath Thornar of House Dornesh and Bael Vanaslav had fought together on countless occasions in their bonded team. These names are hard to read, I'm sorry. The Moonstone Triad first claimed their name hunting kin thieves, who had not only butchered one of their clans for raiding scout parties, but also stolen the psychically resonant spirit stones of their corpses. This act was an abhorrent desecration in the clan's eyes, for such duels held the souls of the slain Exodites. The stone's empathic link to Sith also risked being used to locate the planet by whoever was paying the kin. So recovery was doubly vital. Oh, kin as in Photon. Ooh. Through the webway, the Dragon Masters tracked the aliens to a rust-red moon. So they travel via the webway as well, with crimson vegetation. Bael the Stone Singer followed the Lilith artifact.
Cupcake, that's a line from Mulan.
I live. Yeah. I mean, I live is in a lot of things, though. After Arcane exists the same category of Swarm Lords and Hive Tyrants. Yeah. Basically something that you can destroy because it can come back. Something that's very powerful can make someone else look cool, and it doesn't really affect the lore that they killed it because, you know, after Arcanes can be remade. And there's a lot of them. Actually, I don't know. Can the Avatar of Cain be remade if it's destroyed? Through the webway, Dragon Masters tracked the aliens to a rust-red moon with crimson vegetation. Bael the Stone Singer followed the lithic artifact, Psychic Cries, and Corinan as Lace Stalker, directed the Triad through the phantasmal labyrinth to reach their quarry. The Dragon Masters discovered the Oath Band dug into defences around the Kin's scout ship. Within a clearing hacked from the dense foliage, instinctively each took up the reins of their specialism. Bael sent an elemental gale into the Kin's encampment, using their powers to crack the ship's engines with a seismic shudder. Corian silenced comms arrays and scanner operators with his long rifle to destabilize the aliens' coordination. Unar meanwhile sought the kin war leader. When the clan blade burst into the clearing, the stoic kin could not stop her. She drove her Draco Steed through their ranks and took their champion's head with a single axe blow, veering back into the jungle before the rest could react. The assassination goaded the kin into a grudge-filled rage, that saw them plunge after Fiona in pursuit. Their Drake steeds weaving through the red morass, the triad slipped away, the kin roaring their frustration into the jungle's darkness, blinded with fury. The Oathband had left their ship unprotected. Vale found the stolen spirit souls aboard as Corian laid charges to sabotage the ship's locator beacon, denying the kin any chance of returning to their kindred. Was no less than such corpse robbers deserved. Avatar Kane is made the same way in all three versions of Warhammer in 40k specifically. Artark getting the Death God. Oh really? It's made from an old Artark, like had to go into the Death God thing to make it. I never knew that. I knew that the Avatar, I had seen things in lore of, an Avatar of Cain being lost. And then, they've got an Avatar of Cain again. So I assumed they could just remake it, or that eventually the Avatar of Cain's remains would just brim with fire again. I never knew how it worked. In common with other Dragon Master bands, Corin, Fiona and Vale have individual duties amongst their clan host. None venture far from the others, however remaining ready to respond to summons by the clan's rulers. Since their first mission, the Moonstone Triad has been called upon many times. Each quest has deepened the trust between them with authority, silently ceded to the warriors best placed to decide each matter. Look, that's just how it ended. I was expecting more story about them fighting the kin, but no, apparently that's it. It just ended there. Korinath Eastrath is sometimes called Fate Spear by his companions. I guess it's... I wasn't expecting to learn about individuals here, but I guess it's normal in these books.
Misery word of the day. Spooky. My favourite Exodite clan so far is Ghost Stag. It sounds very spooky.
Ooh, I've not read about the different clans yet. Currently we're reading about the Sun Serpent clan and their kill team. I've not seen Mulan either. I've seen bits of the animation from when I was a kid, I think. He takes on for Corian Eastrath is sometimes called Fate Steer by his companions. Amongst the Moonstone Triad, he takes on the ritual vocation of Lay Stalker. When broods of Gene Stealers reached Sith, it was Corian who led the Triad to hunt the creatures down. The vanguard organisms had lurked aboard a small human merchant ship whose tainted crew's attempts to land had seen the vessel damaged by the world spirit before crashing into fragments. The hybrids perished, but dozens of pure strain Gene Stealers survived. As Corian tracked them, empiric shrouding along the ley line shielded the Triad for phase senses. The Lay Stalker's triple cranial shots failed the brood's monstrously overgrown patriarch, yet it was Karinar's wider strategy that resulted in far more of the invaders being slaughtered. With his expertise, the Triad ambushed many pockets of Gene Stealers, and none have been seen since. That doesn't suggest they're gone fully. I plan to paint my own Exodites in Ghost Stag because they are
Alright, that's it. Dishonor, dishonor on your whole family, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
Dishonor, yeah, I know that line from Mulan. Did you see what they did to the Lord of the Rings? What do you mean, what did we do to Lord of the Rings? Modern Disney sucks. Not all of modern Disney. A lot of it does. I mean, a lot of old Disney also sucked. It's just that most of what sucked never made it, you know, to the modern day, really. The pages are warping a bit. I guess it's all the ink on them. Fiona Darnesh, known as Fiona Echoblade, is a formidable duelist of few words. While occasionally serving the clan host as Lay Stalker due to her talents in marksmanship and tracking, within the Moonstone Triad, her great skills enshrine her place as Clan Blade. It is she who directs them in the maneuvers needed, once they close with their prey, and she who dismembers the deadliest targets with flurries of her moonblades. Yet she is not blind to more subtle threats or weaknesses that can be exploited. Onyal Chanesh, a maiden world imperiled by Tau expansion, the Triad hunted alongside a war host of craft-road Beotan. Fiona saw a robed Tau ethereal as the weak link. She led the hit-and-run attacks that slaughtered the alien's bodyguards and hounded the ethereal as he desperately sought to escape. The hunt caused the Tau front to fracture as they moved to save their leader. It finally collapsed when she outflanked the Firecast commander and flung the ethereal's severed head at his feet, its once serene face gouged by the Drakensteed's fangs. Rings of Power? I've not seen Rings of Power yet. I've heard some people say it's awful. I've seen some people say it's amazing. And I've yet to watch it and make my own opinion on it. The clips I've seen from it, I will say some of the battle choreography could be a lot better. I mean, it's not terrible as far as the TV series goes, the battle choreography. I mean, some of the Game of Thrones battles were absolutely awful. Even if, you know, when people said Game of Thrones was still good. As for everything else, I mean, it's whatever. Like say I had pats. Oh, so why am I a cat now? Why? Dishonor to you. Dishonor on your whole family. No dishonor on your whole family. But, you know. Tastes like turtle. To know our people is to know the hardships we seek out. To know us is to know that isolationism is not primitivism, and that in striving we scour away the stains that would lure she who thirsts. It was in the pursuit of such tests of life, mind, and spirit that I rode the hard paths of a red ray to the world of immortal sorrows. I see you blanch at the name, children of the wind. Know that your fears cannot match the horror fair. Yet endure that crone world, to invade her spawn's caress, to reap a harvest of raystones that my people's future depends on, and after all that still to live. Such was my trial. Fiona and Corinin, kin, but not yet companions, did shadow my road. But it was not their trial, it was mine and my Drakensteed's, that we might prove our skill to hunt with them as a triad. Upon that world we outraced trilling packs of unholy ones, and silenced a song of her children. We fought a snaking duel, through a gilded forest, and ruptured a carriage of bliss. I raised rock and charged earth to engulf pursuers, weeping as I sensed the torment permeating the world. At last we fought and took the stones, those who can hold the firelight flicker of the soul, and we wove our way back to foes I am now proud to call my triad. The memory is splinter, but is one I have imprisoned. Its eternal cage is the foundation stone upon which my strengthened will stands. On the traveller's account, told unto the riders of Samhain Typhale Fensil Sith. So if we do fight off-world as well, Drake Steeds! Only good Lord of the Rings really is Shadow of Mordor for me. Is that because it's got Shelob in it? Dishonored is a good stealth game. I love Dishonored. We played for a bunch of a channel in the early days. I kind of want to go back to Dishonored. It's one of my favourite games. Especially Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 is amazing. Known as the Simoneth in the Eldarian, it was one of the games where I heard about Dishonored 2 being made. I was like, oh gosh, they're actually making a Dishonored 2. And then I saw trailers. I'm like, I'm so hype. I'm so hype. Get ready for the hype. I've had played the game, and it was even better than all my hype. Like, that's how good Dishonored 2 was, in my mind, anyway.
I cast Forgiveness, Joy, and Devil Fruit powers to use responsible. Remember, with great Cupcake power comes great responsibly.
Yeah, Cupcake power has great responsibility. I really enjoy the Lord of the Rings War in the North game. I don't think I've seen that. I actually felt like it could be happening at the same time as the novels. Plus, you had a great eagle in your party. It's actually, isn't it mentioned in the novels and other stuff in his notes that there were other, like, outside of what we actually see, there were other fights going on? Because there was a fight, you know, in the big old forest with the elves. There was also a fight for one of the Dwarven mountains. Oh, and there was also, oh, what's it called? Is it Erebor? The other misty mountain from The Hobbit. Weren't they also attacked? I think there's basically a mention that the Wood Elf realm for hobbits, the Erebor, and then the Stonehill tribe, whatever they're called, you know, basically everyone in the Battle of the Five Armies got attacked by the orcs and successfully defended themselves, and one of the reasons why you don't see them in the books. Because they're too busy fighting for orcs themselves.
My only purpose in life is to push people with devil fruit powers into a lake.
No! Okay, known as the Simath in the Eldari language, Drake steeds are dragon types. Are the dragon types? The dragon types! Pokemon! A dragon type. They're not dinosaur type. Oh, they don't have dinosaur, do they? Like, most of the dinosaurs are rock type, aren't they? Something rock. But the dragon. So, you know, they're weak to fairy. Oh, that's why the Eldar can ride them, because the Eldar are fairies. So, you know, you might think it's like, how would this giant dragon, you know, subservient to this tiny little elf on top of it? Well, because it's a fairy type versus dragon type. Fairy type just beats dragon type. Hence why it's riding it. And when you combine them together, only steel can stop you. Well, battles against the Lonely Mountains and Mirkrod that you didn't see. Yeah. And you've also got, I think he mentioned as well that, you know, the Haradrim and the Easterlings, they weren't all completely under the control of Saruman, and you had people fighting there. Not Saruman, Sauron. And you had people still fighting for their lives there and against the darkness. Didn't he actually lament in an interview that he didn't actually put more of that in? In fact, there was a war to conquer them there. And there's been like many wars and raids over the years in those places. That the people aren't inherently evil. They're just ruled by evil people.
It's Venom Crest.
It's Venom Crest, yay! Exodite riders are furiously aggressive with their speed and predatory instincts to run down any prey. A Draken Steed's talons can tear through steel skin of a tank after all. The steel skin of a tank? I don't think the stats are that good. It lands this, but the Exodites have made sure of it. With their fang-filled maws possess the strength to take off an orc's arm in one swift snap. Yeah, I mean, I could believe it. But that maw could definitely take off an orc's head. Even like a knob or something. Red maws. All mounts ridden by the Dragon Masters possess aggressive instincts. but Redmaw Drake steeds are the most aggressive, most ferocious. As with all variants of Drake steed, the emergence of a Redmaw in the environment is a sort of mystical biological mechanisms initiated and controlled by the Exodites. Those not broken to the will of a rider are permitted to roam, although with territories moulded and monitored by the clans. Such unmastered Redmaws serve as useful trolls, as horrific hazards to invading foes, and as adversaries to help harden the Exodite survival skills in the wild. Most hunt alone, driven to slack and need to kill bred to them by the clans. Redmaws are thus the most dangerous Drake steed for an Exodite to master. They must be hunted and subdued with the strength and speed, born to the ground and shown who is master. But they hunt such prospective riders in turn, and some Exodites do not survive the attempt. Redmaw's infamous savagery has led them to be traditionally associated with the role of clanblade. Few others have a fierce will to dominate them. Out of the hunt, the pair form a peerless blend of murderous of unaliving ability. Do they tease more dragons like Carnosaurs? Oh, they did. They Megadon. They teased a Megadon. I was like, oh my gosh, Megadons. So there's an idea that there might be a giant dragon in the future. They also did mention many breeds of dragons, which it could just be referring to the different types of Drake steed and these guys here. Venom crests. On some Exodite worlds, Venom crest Drake steeds are sung as arcane symbiotes of the planet's world spirit. A previously unremarkable Drake steed will obey a sudden instinct to leave its pack or territory, changing its hunting grounds to regions around the spirit steels and conjunction seals built by the Exodites. Oh, this is why the Venom steeds are ridden by the Venom crests are ridden by the stone singers, I guess, then. Poison-filled sacs within its throat, rudimentary in most Drake steeds, engorge until the beast is capable of projecting globules of toxic drool. This is so caustic and laced with such potent biogenic proteins that it dissolve the thick hide or chitin of larger prey, let alone the armor and flesh of sentient foes. Venom crests possess the war power and murderous and unaliving speed of all Drake steeds, but their strength and connection to the world spirit has marked them as the chosen mounts of stone singers since time immemorial. Such riders' psychic sensitivity becomes even more acute as they exploit their mount's connection to the flow and weave of the planet's natural powers. Depending on which part of the lore you look at, the two blue wizards were active in the east, yeah, of Lord of the Rings. I'm going to paint them in Power Rangers. We're going to paint ours as Blue Eyes White Dragons because I love Blue Eyes White Dragon. Literally, I have 3 gold bullion stamped with Blue Eyes White Dragon and another. Maybe I do. And another with Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So, yeah. I love Blue Eyes. And Kaiba and Kisara and, you know, the Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Which is also why when despite my love for plant type in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's probably my favourite typing. Well, zombie and plant types are my 2 favourite. And my favourite decks are always plants. I also love Black Rose Dragon. But yeah, I had to. I actually have a giant statue of Black Rose Dragon as well. I say a giant statue. I have a big old statue. Oh gosh. My next deck I want to make is going to be a Black Rose Dragon one. I need to finish my Blue Eyes one first. I'm going to paint them into Power Rangers. Okay. Yeah, but we're going to paint these Blue Eyes White. Oh, wait, I could paint one in different colours. I want to get at least 6 of these. So I got 3 now. I could paint like... Oh, and I want to get some of the characters. We could paint like some of them as Blue Eyes, some of them as Black Rose Dragon. That would be difficult.
I summoned Black Eyes Redmaw. in attack mode.
Yeah, Black Eyes Red Maw. And we could paint like one of them as Black Eyes Red Dragon. No, Black Eyes. Red Eyes Black Dragon. Red Eyes Bee Dragon. Darkscale is a Darkscale is a name Exodites give to a Drakesteed possessed of sinister poise and calculating calm. They are seen as having souls or shadowy passions with unreadable motives. When paralleled ambush predators, Darkscales are capable of such fine physical control that they are the ideal steed of lay stalkers. Even while racing at speeds and weaving through obstacles on the trail of their master's prey, Darkscale Drake
I fusion
steeds
summon
grant
Red
their
Eyes
Exodites
Black
rider.
Skull Dragon.
Yeah! Darkscale Drake steeds grant their Exodite rider a sure-footed stability that allows them to unleash expert kill shots. Draco Leafs are not immature Drake steeds, but a different breed. Intelligent scavengers and pack killers in the wild. These swift hunters are used in service to Dragon Masters to track and corral the Triad's targets. Remarkable senses in their barbed crests and jawline tendrils allow them to detect and trace biochemicals and energy spectra that betray their prey. They excel in flushing foes from cover and into the sights of the Triad's lay stalker, signaling with flashes of their feathered tail. Oh, so it seems that they operate separately from the lay stalkers then, but not always just being ridden. That's cool. And then you got the draconic subjugation. Oh no, there's Draco lifts, sorry. Draco lifts are these ones. I didn't realise I accidentally went to... So Drake Scales is the one for lay stalker rides, while these are the Draco Leafs, the ones that help chase prey down for the lay stalker. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Draconic subjugation. I wonder, will we get the ones about the... No. It's not going to tell us about the Draco Leafs that ride with the Dragon Riders. Exodite philosophy extols the harmony of existence on their worlds. Oh my gosh. Look at that. I just realised that guy's pulling down that dinosaur. Oh, so that's how they tame the Draco steeds. Don't forget, Eldar in lore are like almost as strong as a space marine. And then like, do you know, things like Autarchs and stuff are stronger than war bosses. In the War Boss book, there's an Autarch that just grabs, like a massive orc just goes to attack it, and he just grabs the wrist and just, you know, completely destroys the orc with effortless ease. Yeah, if Eldar... Space Marines currently have kind of close to lore accurate stats, you know, 2 wounds, 3 attacks each, stuff like that. Especially like Loyalist Space Marines are getting heavy on assault on most of the weapons. So they can always hit on 2s if they're not moving, and they can shoot while moving, very quick while sprinting. If Eldar should have assault on all of their weapons, they should be ballistic skill 5, weapon skill 5. At the very least, they should all have strike first. They should all be strength 4. Honestly, they should be toughness 4 as well. I mean, they're not as tough as Space Marines in reality, but they're a lot tougher than the average human. And the armor's also better than human armor. It's like they should, again, all be having at least a 4+ save. That being said, current Eldar are a lot better than they used to be. You are seeing more weapon skill and ballistic skill 5 or 6. You are seeing more 4+ and 3+ saves on them, and more invulnerable saves as well. So that is a good thing. Used to be Eldar were just so incredibly fragile. Now they're still fragile, but not as fragile. I chose to ignore the dragon subjugation law. My elves and dragons are friends. Yeah. You don't remember, this is just one tribe of group that they're talking about. We're mostly talking about Sith, and we're mostly talking about the... Oh, what do they call them? The Sun Serpent tribe. And we're mostly talking about the Moonstone Triad within the Sun Serpent tribe. So this isn't going to be accurate for every single Exodite out there. So you can make your own lore for them if you want. Exodite philosophy adores the harmony of existence on their worlds, retain their heart of their species. In no doubt that all the life in the world serves them. The dragons they use are dominated, with the Exodites in a position of command rather than sharing the relationship with equals. Subjugation takes many forms, including physical dominion, telepathic coercion, and outmaneuvering beasts on the hunt. All are dangerous as well as physically and mentally draining, risking the deaths of everyone involved. When successful, however, the bonding sees the ferocity and instincts of a dragon under the supremacy of the Exodites. So, from what I can gather from this, is it's talking about typical Exodites, and that's why it focuses specifically on this group, on this one planet, and this one tribe on the planet, to basically say, hey, this is your average Exodite. They already mentioned that some Exodites use more technology than other Exodites, even on this one world, and some use much less technology than even these dudes. So if it can have that much variation on one planet, then it can have that much variation between other planets too. All this talk of playing Monster Hunter Stories at some point. Maybe. Is it on PC? At one ritual vertex of a Dragon Master tried or Camblades fighting from atop ferocious Redmaw Drake steeds. They're the closest. That's not Redmaw, that's blue. They're close quarter masters who wield powered swords and axes. I think I'm going to try finding one of my spare Eldori arms and if I get a clan blade, give it 2 swords, because I think that would be amazing. Ceremonial pairing as Moonblades. Clan Blades champions, the final and most physically dangerous stage of a hunt. When a prey is cornered and its every deadly movement must be anticipated, countered, and exploited. Expert at reading the skills and power of their prey, they direct the rest of a triad in advantageous attack angles before charging into personally strike down the deadliest foe. Hey, don't go glory stealing, that's how you attract to you firsts. Stone Singers are powerful Exodites. I wonder if these guys get turned to stone over time. You know, like the, crystal, like the Farseers do in, Craft Worlds. Stone Singers are powerful Exodite psychers who ride venom-spitting Draken steeds, who are renowned for their ability to contact the souls within a world spirit, with their network psycho-crystalline menhirs, and possession of eldritch connections with energy that suffuses their environment. Stone Singers unleash this in elemental manifestations, conjuring howling storms and geometric fluxes of rupturing armor, flesh, and bone, with thrumming songs of wrath and ruin. They can invoke gazes of restorative energy, capable of healing fellow dragon masters, or call forth flashing vines of thorny growths with grasping tendrils. That sounds fun. One thing I really hope that they do for the future of 40k is of Exodite Eldar is I would like to see, since they said that, these guys sometimes will operate in one another's roles. Like sometimes you might find a clan master being a sniper and the lay stalker being, a clan blade. One of the things that would be fun is seeing a Stone Singer who turned out to be an extremely adept clan blade, and now they're like, imagine combining the powers of an Autarch and a Farseer into just one model. That would be amazing. That would be super fun. The ceremonial positions at the heart of a Dragon Master kill team are bonded in harmony of martial, spiritual, and strategic skills. When bound together, these clan champions form a deadly trinity. bolstered by the strength and speed of a ferocious drake steeds, alongside the keen senses of a Dracoliths. No prey can longer evade them. Lacedarkers are keen-eyed and ever watchful. This just seems like a repeating of a lot of what we've already seen. They define the complex routes that lead their fellow dragon masters to their prey via hidden paths and subtle strategies. Exemplars of a clan renowned preparedness. Lacedarkers direct their intelligent drake scales and drake steeds onto new routes to outflank and outwit their foes. They're also masterful snipers. Once an unknowing target is in the sights of an expertly crafted long rifle, a Lacedarker kill shot is delivered with unnatural precision. Yeah. These scaled, coursing beasts are used by dragon masters to help hunt elusive targets. They also protect Exodites and foes attempting to swarm them, intercepting, counteracting with savage ferocity. Dracoliths chase down escaping targets, ambush outflanking enemies, and use expert senses of sight, smell, and predatory focus to detect prey attempting to lie low. Yeah. Okay, so there's more lore. There's more lore. Oh, so we are going to see stuff about the actual Lance dudes. Oh my gosh, there is more lore. There's so much lore. There's the Ghost Stag, Exodite War Gear. Oh, there's the Force Shields. Scale Shields are sculpted. They are wreathed in a nimbus of energy that diffuses the force of incoming attacks and deflects it in spectral rainbow arcs. Your maiden world. Okay, and there's where it gets to the... This actually might be a 2-stream read. And we did spend a lot of time talking about stuff. Okay, I might need to turn this light. No, it's going to shine too much. There you go. There you go. Let's get this to focus. The sleepless moon and 2 blooded drenched dawns of persistent guerrilla war takes the toll on Cronin's triad. Each accumulates wounds and exhaustion. Their scale-in flesh weaving can only undo so much damage. Each Dragon Master shepherds dwindling reserves of energy cells, food, and hope that the Ark Warband can be stopped before they defile the cradle of Dragonfire. The Lacedarker, Clamblade, and Stonesinger, and their Drake steeds, each match the relentless momentum and endurance of the Orcs with repeated hit-and-run assaults. Over 2 days, the Dragon Masters ambushed the invaders' flanks on cover, repeatedly varying their tactics. They erect wire-weaved traps that slice apart orcs, pushing through their heartlands of fiends. The Triad storms a mob on the Warband's fringe, who are cutting through the Mayor Sweet Grove. They kill 6 in a blur, shredding geocrystals and searing lasers. And the survivors chase after them with bloodthirsty glee. The Dragon Masters drive them into the Mayor's heart to be trapped in the flay-lit bog. The flay-lit bog! You never want to be trapped in a bog, even if it's lit by fairies. Gave them all stomachache, it did. The Triad swirl of strike, fade, circle, and strike again cools dozens of orcs, but too many remain as they near the cradle of Dragonfire to risk a direct assault. Cronin knows his plan for the orcs. Eradication must be enacted before they reach the sacred site and foul it with their presence. He signals Fionor and fail. Their forms are blurs of a ghostly moonlight, and together they ride at speed into the overgrown basin that leads to the cradle of Dragonfire, a route by which they will overtake the orcs. The moon rays are not the only light to illuminate the tangled growth lining the basin. Cronin perceives the lambent glow of the ley lines. Cronan, They are thick here, so near the sacred space of his clan, and they speak to him. The life of the world is linked to them, and he has learned to read the poetry in flows of and eddies, a tale of the vitality of the earth, air, and vegetation, and the dragons. What Corin seeks is the beating of a giant heart. When the Triad passes the remnants of the Orc Warband of the West, a chime sounds in Corin's psychoreceptor bead, followed by a distinct rustle of foliage. Oh no, signaling a maneuver. Hers is the initial step on a path Cronan has laid. He hopes she will see its end. Cronan and Vale bolt onwards. They reach for outer steel circles of the cradle of dragonfire just as the Ark's din erupts in a crescendo of weapons fire and guttural wars. Cronan imagines the clanblade exulting in the storm of death she unleashes. Vale and the Venom Crest bound past Crayon towards the nearest spirit steel. Ghostbite carefully circles the psycho-crystalline mania as Vale stretches their stone staff towards it in both hands. Cronan feels the build-up of the Stonesinger's power. The warding rite Vale is enacting is a critical. The warding rite Vale is enacting is a critical element of Cronan's plan. But it is risky to attempt. The Laystarker slows, double creeping into his mind, even at this juncture. Vale's head snaps up to face him, the Stonesinger's arms still rigid. Go take your path now, Vale sends with such force that Cronan's Drakesteed Riverloom staggers. Stung into action by the usually tranquil Vale's intensity, Cronan reaches Rivergloom around and goads the drake scale into an arcing curve around the circle of Marneus. He reaches rising ground long ago. It had been a fast mound, if the myths are to be believed, but whatever dome it once possessed has gone. The clan of the Sun Serpent name it the Triumphal Maw. The Triumphal Maw. The crater-like structure is a place of heedless death and ritual execution, and its outer walls are thick with sunken ley lines. Ca'anin senses Vale's slow rhythm as he guides Rivergloom to an ancient lookout atop the Maw's encircling crater wall. His gaze reaches from the spirit steels to Amar's dark core. On one face the crater wall splits into a broad gouge. Clan myth portrays it as a gateway, one that no Exodite takes. Cronan unsheaths his long rifle and races it, with the loam instantly stills. The orcs burst into the Laystarker's sight in a rolling pack. Cronan's vision is filled with green muscled bird fangs, lurid hides, grotesque weapons and crude mechanical augmentations. Moonlight glimps from beady eyes and bionic lenses glow. Cronan spots Fionor. A single-handed battle has cost her. Blood sheets her left leg and Moonfury lopes painfully, broken blades embedded in its flank. Fionor races just ahead of a chasing mass. The clanblade keeps their focus on her, corralling foot soldiers and beast riders alike. She doubles back and banks into the orc's flank, every kill stoking their eagerness for her head. With each swing of a blade that bites into an orc, Fionor flourishes her other at a second. Then she marks of the unpredictable foes who risk leading the orcs with the dragon masters do not want them. Cronan's keen shots see them dead. A moment later, Fionor's goading strikes falter as Moonfury stumbles near the outer circle of the spirit steels. Orc beast riders roar with joy as they sense a kill. An immense orc atop a bone scalpeled abomination leads 3 others that mob her. Beaten to their prey by the beast riders, the orc infantry search for trophies of their own in the gloom, yelling as they spot the circles of spirit steels and racing towards them. Corian's heart chills. He knows of their hateful desire to topple the structures or encrust them with alien totems.
Tapatio in my food. I thought I put duck sauce in it.
You thought you put duck sauce in it? No! The orcs never reach the outermost steel. Corian sees the moon's droppled light. twist around the menhirs. A bow wave of soul energy blasts outward from them. Fail's Riding Right unleashed. Many of the arcs are picked up and hurled into the surrounding jungle. The largest of their kind braces against the soul tempest and whirls in defiance that energy flenses him. As the eruption abates, Fail and Ghost Spite sprint from cover amid the steel circle towards Fiona. The flensed arc lumbers towards a stone singer, his now lipless fangs bared in a challenge. Fail does not slow, but raises an arm hung with eldritch talismans. Her hand does not see where the boulder comes from. It sweeps across Fail's paths like a mossy meteor, smearing the arc into the loam. Fail reaches Fiona where two of the arcs that mobbed her and one of their unnatural beasts already lie dead. The stone singer's power waxes once more, and the blood-soaked vegetation beneath the remaining arcs comes alive in coiling tendrils, binding them in strangling cords. Fail urges the clanblade back. The enraged arc's strength will not long be contained. The pair make for Chimulfumar. From his roost, Conan sees them skirt the yawning gateway. Dark beast riders tear themselves free of the clawing tendrils. The monstrous creature who commands them rallies the survivors of the stone singer's Riding Right. They make for Fail and Fulnar. Corian's shots would count for naught. He cannot slay enough before they reach the Dragon Masters. Now is the time, Corian decides. The ley lines circling the Tyreful Maw reach a nexus at the lookout. Corian occupies. It was made for foes with his talents, he knows, and is linked to a being that only wakes to such threats as the world now faces. Wait, Avatar of Cain? Relay Starker stills his mind and feels the giant pulse. His thoughts submerge into a soul energy and he releases his emotions, his anger and sorrow, his abhorrence. Corian feels the rhythm quicken, and the reverberation is a mind, a hunger. Corian pulls his spirit from the ley lines before he is lost. The reverberation radiates from the dark core of Chinifil Maw. A primeval growl of a colossus magnitude. He sees Fail and Fiona turn in shock and awe. The arcs turn too as they near the crater's gateway. Their huge leader looses a bellow that at once speaks of joyous thrill and brazen provocation. He kicks his repugnant mount and it bounds through the gateway in a charge. The surviving arcs pour after him. The incoherent yells of excitement soon submerge in the growling growl of a world dragon. A world dragon! It's not an Avatar of Cain, it's a world dragon! Oh my gosh! Are we gonna get giant? Do you know when I was saying we could have a giant dragon or an Avatar of Cain riding a dragon? You know, maybe we will. Maybe we will. Oh, they can't just release this with the Exodites and then just leave us for another 30 years before they actually give us a model of it. No, no. The next Elder Codex has to have more Exodites, please. And new Dire Defenders, please. So if Great gets an avatar for Great Drake. Yeah! Well, actually, there's two things. You've got the Hunter God. I don't actually know much about the Hunter God, but you got that Hunter God that was specifically mentioned in this. But you've also got the mention that the Avatar of Cain had its own mount. Kunos. No, this is different. Amongst these, Levensath, daughter of the goddess Moria Hag, is said to have hunted sentient insanities. So we got Moria Hag and Ionasath. Ionasath? And it's at Katu, where they hunted these insanities. And also the avatar of Cain, the war god Cain, also raided on a steam named Alien. So this world dragon could be, you know, something like that. Or it could just be literally a giant monster created by the Eldari. Does anyone wish that they either had 4 arms or a tail like a Saiyan? There's a Gene Stealer cultist. I found a Gene Stealer cultist, Miss Inquisitor Muffin. Okay, how much is left of this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got 5 more pages. I won't have time today because I want to have a bath. I want to do some self-care tonight. So I think we'll leave that here. Tomorrow we'll read more about them. I know I said I'll build some Beast Snagger Orcs tomorrow, and maybe we will after we read more lore. What are you even watching? I don't know. We were reading Exodite lore. We've been reading about the Warhammer Exodites. Yeah, look at a cool thing. Also, hi, Shanashi. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Shiana Shire? Can you teach me how to become an expert imposter in Among Us? Nope. I played Among Us like twice. The way to become an expert imposter is always to try and help the group. To try fostering group unity and, you know, working with the others. And that way you can get them to all eject one another. And then you don't even need to hunt much. You don't need to do much hunting. It's always best if there's like 2 imposters, one of you to be for hunter and one of you to be for one, fostering a kind of group connection. And then if your fellow imposter does start becoming targeted, yeah, you need to throw them under the bus. Because unfortunately, if you're protecting them, then all that happens is you'll get thrown out. Or if the other imposter is the one, you know, doing what's it called? Fostering a group unity, then you need to be for hunter. You need to be for hunter. If you get thrown out, it's fine. Trust your other imposter. Jeb Kerman. Hello, Jeb Kerman. This world dragon would make a fine addition to a certain person's museum. Yes. Also, I like how it's got a little bookmark. But tomorrow we might build the Beast Snaggers. I might change the stream timers. I might make it an earlier stream. I would honestly love to have a Saiyan's tail wrapped around my waist and use it to hold anything. That's a cute world drake you have there. It would make a great coaster for my drink. Yeah! I like that art. Honestly, Games Workshop with the Exodites, they knew that if they made them, they'd have to absolutely knock it out the park. And to be honest, I think they have. The new lore is great. If you're a fan of Kill Team, all of this stuff is great. The only part I'd say, like all of this extra, like just it's so much extra rules and scenarios here. I mean, 20 different scenarios. Like they really knocked it out there. For Orcs, I do think are a bit of a disappointment to the box, but for box itself, it's less than a combat patrol. It's got this really nice book in it. Oh yeah, by the way, you can get it now. They did restock it yesterday. I don't know if it's already sold out. Let me check if it's sold out yet. Come on. Shop. Other games. Kill Team. Shop Hall. Yep, it's here. They've reprinted it. You can get more of it potentially. I don't know if they're shipping it to other stores again. But yeah, so that's on a combat patrol. You get a really cool squad of Exodites. You get some Exodite transfers. You get the cool Exodite lore book. For orcs, I mean, if you like orcs already, they can be a good addition to your army. If you just want to play some games with just your Exodites in a kill teamy thing, then this is fun. It's basically, they released this as the ultimate single player thing. You got 20 different scenarios of playing by yourself against some non-player operatives, or with other people. So honestly, I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of digging it. And the models, I've said it before. I've said it so many times, but the models are absolutely, they're amazing models. They're really fun to build. They're not that hard to build. They've got some good posability going on with them, where you can swap the legs around, the arms, the heads, and the necks, and like any leg, this guy's legs can go on this guy. That's how good it. Now, the only thing that where it's fixed is these legs here, for his legs, the elves, have to go on this body. That's the only bit. For torsos, any torso can go on any body. There's like loads of different head options. It's a very nice kit. Kind of neat how the Beast Snaggers showed up as a sub-faction. Snakebites always seemed a little of an odd clan out of the big ones. Oh no, I always liked the Snakebites. I liked the feral... I loved the feral orcs. So the Snakebites were, you know, a nice way of having, hey, this is how you might have your feral orcs, you know, fighting on a different planet. Because the Snakebites do it. So that was nice. The Beast Snaggers, though, they're not their own clan. The Beast Snaggers are basically like, you know, Storm Boys. Rather, you will find Beast Snaggers are most likely to be Snakebites. Snakebites are most likely to be Beast Snaggers. In the same way that Storm Boys are most likely going to be Blood Axes, and Blood Axes are most likely going to be Storm Boys. And Commandos as well. It's not always going to be that way. You can get Death Skulls being Beast Snaggers. You can get Goth Boys being Beast Snaggers. And then you can get some that just won't belong to any clan specifically. They just want to fight. That's all they care about. They don't care about the clan and clan unity. Our Exodite is always defenders. Oh no, they don't. It does seem that they might use ships. And in the lore here, when the Beast Snaggers were attacking this world, they did get harassed by some Eldari ships, who then quickly fled. But they're not always defenders. They do use the webway. In the book as well, the kill team that's in this book, the specific kill team, they hunted some kin to a different world by using the webway to get to that world. And it sounds like they also fought demons. After getting rid of the kin, they had to fight some demons, but then they came back. So yeah, they also are said to have fought alongside allies such as the Craft World Elder and stuff on different worlds. So they will support the and the Yanari as well. They will support the Yanari when, you know, it benefits them. They will support the Craft World Elders and they think they need to. So yeah. Thankfully, they got webway portals. And they not just got webway portals, they can always just, like, catch a ride on an Eldari ship, like a Craft World ship or a Corsair ship or whatever, if they think that this needs to be somewhere they need to go. Which can sometimes, the words bit will just be like, hey. You know, there's these kin mining a planet that's a few systems away. But one day, if they are allowed to do that, they will find this planet and they will bring a massive army with them. But if these kin die on that planet instead, before they ever finish their goal, then their league will abandon them. So, if you can just quickly and swiftly eliminate these kin, just sabotage all of their attempts, sneakily or whatever, will either go back home. You've got a lot of reasons for them. Personally, my Exodites are ones that suffered at the hands of Tyranids. Because what I'm doing with mine is all of my Eldari models are basically Tyranid hunters. They're mostly what's it called, Corsairs. But for what my Eldar group, all of them have suffered at the hands of Tyranids and are now obsessed with hunting Tyranids, whether it be Exodites, Craft Worlders, Drukhari, Corsairs. All of them have banded together into one group, and now they want to get rid of a specific High Fleet. High Fleet Cupcon, my High Fleet. But tomorrow we will have another stream. How many people are here? Well, who's live right now? Is there anyone live? Briar's not live, YouTube. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I can't find anybody specifically. Okay, if they're in subscriber only mode, so probably not good to raid them. No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just leave it here. Hi, Jabbercommon. How you doing? We'll finish reading about it tomorrow then. I know I said I'm going to, you know, build big old beast snaggers tomorrow, but we might have to put that to one side to finish reading this. I mean, I did get distracted quite a bit today, so, you know, consume the other streams. Consume the other streams. So we're Tyranids now. No, we're not Tyranid. We're Tyranid hunters. Tyranid hunters. Of a four-armed emperor. Yeah. Well, you can do anything you want with your Exodites. You could say that your Exodites, rather than being like loads of distinct clans like on this planet, you could say that maybe your Exodites are a big clan and they control multiple planets, and maybe they do have a few small cities. And they're all connected by webway portals, and on their planets, like hidden under the ocean or under the forests or inside a mountain or something. Or the original ships that they use to arrive on the planet. Or maybe they're inside their moons. Like, you think, that's a moon. No, it's just a Eldar ship that's had a lot of rocks collect around it over the millennia. So, you could have all sorts of stuff you want with your Exodites. As it's also said, Exodites have different levels of technology. Some Exodites will be extremely primitive, using only the most simplistic of equipment. Others will be extremely extreme. Will be like, you know, we'll still use most of the tech, we just won't use any pleasure tech. And then others will be more like the general one, where they still use a lot of tech, but most of the tech is shunned. Anything that makes life a bit too easy. By Eldar standards. So, you know, you can do anything. It's your law it's your own homebrew law, and Exodites do what you want with. And no one can take that away. And they do seem to foster just making your own stuff up as well. I like that. I like more of the stuff doing that. But hopefully we'll get more Exodites like the Megadon and the World Dragons in the future. It'll be amazing if we do. And maybe some Eldar Exodite infantry could be fun. Like, I like the idea of Exodite infantry with Draco Leafs running alongside them. Like, do you know, for Farstalker warbands? Like, maybe it'll be 6 infantry for Draco Leafs. And with the Draco Leafs actually having proper stats rather than just being tokens. So, we'll leave it there. Big love hearts to you all. Remember to take care. Don't forget to like the stream. Remember to take care of yourself, be kind to others, and vice versa. So work hard but play harder. Eat good food, sleep well, dream of cupcakes but don't eat for cupcakes. And you know, love you all. Goodbye everyone. And we'll be streaming same time tomorrow. Yeah. Smash. Play Master Duel.